and a happy Thanksgiving Eve to you. It is Glenn Clark Radio. I am Glenn Clark. Another stunner at the World Cup, man. I guess this one's a bit more embraceable than yesterday's. Unless you drew Germany in our pool, or unless you threw a bunch of money on Germany this morning at 9 o'clock when sports betting went live again. This is what we call covering your ass. Your boy put $120 on Germany when I wanted to have a little action, right? Like at 9 o'clock, we could legally bet on our phones in the state of Maryland. So I said, I want to feel something. I'm going to go ahead and Germany's playing right now. The odds aren't great. What the hell? Just throw a bunch of money on Germany. They're not going to lose to Japan. I mean, what are we talking about? So I went ahead and did that. And then I saw how things were going, and I said, oh, crap. I better do something about this. So I got most of it back by betting significantly more money on Japan. I was playing a dangerous game. If Germany had scored there at the end, you wouldn't have wanted to see old GC. It would not have been pretty. I came out. I lost a net $10 in this transaction. But you know what? Way better than losing 125. So hi, good morning. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Betting is here, and I'm gonna do stupid things. I'm gonna do so many stupid things. Oh, boy. Hey, it's finally here. Mobile sports betting is on in Maryland, and if you want to place a bet and see how it works, please sign up right now with PressBox's special promos and offers. Now, the pre-registration bonuses are gone, but these companies are still doing a lot to try to get you to sign up with them in the infancy of mobile sports betting here in the state of Maryland. You can get a great deal, free bets. You'll be helping PressBox earn a small commission in the process, which is great news for us as we try to keep the lights on here. It's really a win-win. You can get up to $700 worth of free bets still, even though you didn't hit it in time for pre-registration. Go right now to PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Again, that's PressBoxOnline.com/offers in order to get signed up and take advantage of still many tremendous offers for you here in the infancy of sports betting in the state of Maryland. We thank you. And that doesn't mean nothing. Like when we say, hey, it helps us out too. We're not begging. Like we're not there. We're not desperate, anything like that. But it helps us. Be frank about that. And if you want the lights to stay on, if you want to enjoy our content, that would be a good thing if you would be willing to just sign up through our link if you're going to be doing some sports betting. So, just an ask. That's all. Just an ask that you consider that PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Busy day ahead. Coming up on the program today, we are going to preview the Jaguars. Of course, this is our final show of the week. So we will preview the Jaguars. Jeff Lageman is the color analyst for the Jaguars Radio Network. We will catch up with him. Also this morning, we will have our weekly celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Ravens Super Bowl XLVII title. This week, Ed Dickson, one of my buddies, former Ravens tight end. Of course, he was the starting tight end in the Super Bowl. I don't know that everybody remembers that. And also last week decided to kind of make a declaration that he had retired as a Raven. He had gone on and spent a good amount of time in Carolina, and it was something that he and his family wanted to do to declare that he had retired as a Raven. So we'll talk to him about that. And later on in the program, the Godfather, Shawne Merriman, Mr. Lights Out himself, Maryland NFL legend, is going to check in with us. He is back in town this Saturday. He will be in College Park for his 20th Lights Out coat drive. That just made me realize I'm old. Damn it. Not a great day. Not a great moment. But Shawne Merriman is the best, and he has done this for 2 decades, and he has come back, and it matters a great deal to him. And we'll talk to him about that. We'll talk to him about the Terps. We'll talk to him about the Ravens, all that stuff a little bit later on as Shawne Merriman will join us here on GCR. Of course, we got to do some picks. Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios are up at Glenn Clark Radio, presented by Glory Days Grill. Awful lot for you. awful lot going on. I actually try to figure out when exactly we should do picks because we spread this out. We don't have like the right pocket of time. We'll figure it out. I'm looking at it. I'm like, now that I realize when is the right time? When is the right time for us to do picks? I don't have the answer to that question. Don't know. But we'll get to it, I promise. So that will happen. All right. Nothing significant to cover. Obviously, we covered the significant news, which is now that Germany lost at the World Cup. That's the significant news. And
Towson beat Coppin last night.
I'm not trying to poo-poo that in any way. Good for Towson. That's a nice little win. They're unbeaten. I don't have other things you'd like to say about it.
I don't know. Yeah, it was a good win.
Okay.
They're very good at making shots. Towson does not seem to miss.
How's that going with getting me single dollar bills? How's that going?
Yeah. Not great.
How's that going? That's what I would like to talk about on the show. Is the assignment I gave Griffin this morning for the video that we're going to do that. Worked out about well as our pats on the ass segment has been working.
I think
yes.
I think the pats on the ass worked out pretty well.
No, it didn't. You need to stop that. Right. Like the problem is you're not recognizing it. You think that doing your shtick is still good. It's not. It's bad shtick.
It's not shtick.
It's if it ain't shtick, then you're just dumb.
No.
And I don't think that's the case. I think you're a smart guy. Maybe I'm going to find out that I'm wrong and you just don't know anything about football, but I don't think that's the case. I think you know something and you're just doing really bad shtick. Like, I pray that's the case. Now I need it to end, but I pray that's the case. Because I know you're not, I know you're not stupid. I could have sworn you were not a stupid man. I could have sworn that. And now I'm struggling with it. Now we're in a difficult spot. Anyway, that the moral of the story, I don't even remember. Oh, we were talking about, you wanted to talk about Towson. Yes, they got a nice win over Coppin State last night. It was a lovely victory for Towson. I had a lovely evening as well. My friend Zach, of course, a friend to all of us. He's been involved in our charity endeavors over the years, Zach Merrick. All Time Low, the band, they were playing at Record Theater. They're doing like a residency this week at Record Theater, which is really cool because as incredibly successful as they are, getting to see somebody like that play at somewhere as small as Record Theater is kind of wild. Obviously, it means a lot more to them because it was the first ever venue they played as a band. So it was a cool thing. Got to spend last night with him and his family. That was a neat thing. And really wild, all the success they've had and to know how much this means to them coming home and getting to play at the first venue they ever played at as a band. That was a really neat moment for me. So love Zach, love his family. Had a great night last night. I would tell you to try to check them out, but there are definitely not any tickets available. They were gone in about 3 minutes of the moment they announced this thing. So I hope you got yours. If not, I don't know, maybe beg, barter, do whatever you can. I don't even know. The Wrecker is not like a famous scalping venue, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the Bridge doesn't scalp tickets to shows at the Wrecker, but good luck. Good luck is what I would say. Two things that did come up that I wanted to get to at the start of the show. Please get your responses in for Would You Rather Wednesday at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. They are up early today for you to get involved. From Dave. Dave got to me yesterday. Dave said, Glenn, I appreciate how pragmatic you're attempting to be about the Ravens game against the Panthers and where they are offensively. I'm not necessarily going to disagree with you. I do think that uniqueness of Sunday's game made for a lesser offensive output. However, are you willing to acknowledge that this is still not necessarily by the way, we've kind of talked about this. This is still not necessarily the way that teams go about winning the Super Bowl, and what they're doing is putting themselves at a great disadvantage because they will need everything to go their way in order to win a Super Bowl doing this. I feel like other teams that are more capable have greater margins for error. The Chiefs could give up 3 touchdowns in the first quarter in all fluky types of ways. Tip balls, bad luck, awful penalties that are called, and they could still come back and win a game against just about anybody. File that thought away. We'll get back to it. The Ravens, however, if they were in the same scenario where even if it's not necessarily their fault, one bad bounce of the ball, one unfortunate snap in bad weather, one atrocious penalty call that shouldn't have been called. They're behind 21-0, and at this point, they're hopeless. I agree with your sentiment that it's not that they can't win a Super Bowl doing what they do. It's just that they're asking for trouble. Everything has to go their way, and to think that everything will go their way for 4 straight games seems not just unlikely, but damn near impossible. I'm still rooting for it to happen. I hope for the best. I'm not telling you that they should fire Greg Roman during the season, but I think at the end of the year they need to reconsider everything about the way they do offense. So there's a few things in there, right? And let me respond to them one by one, because I do feel like we've talked about this a bit, Dave. One, comparing anything to the Chiefs is foolhardy. There's one Patrick Mahomes. One. To be clear, even Patrick Mahomes couldn't overcome during his career when many things went wrong. We all remember what happened in the Super Bowl against Tampa when their offensive line stunk. For as great as Patrick Mahomes was, for as great as Travis Kelce is, for as great as Tyreek Hill was at the time, they couldn't overcome having no offensive line. The idea that teams are just built to overcome disaster is a fallacy. They're not. Which doesn't mean it's impossible. Of course, we know that the Bills and the Dolphins and the Giants all overcame, double-digit deficits to the Ravens earlier this season. It can happen. But the idea, the scenario that you're presenting where utter disaster sets in through no fault of your own, and you're down 21-0, well, if it's the Chiefs, they're just going to go win. Well, I don't know, maybe. Maybe. To your point, it's not impossible, and we've seen the Chiefs in playoff games fall behind early in games and bounce back quite nicely. But you're still talking about a team, for as great as they are, they've won 1 Super Bowl. And they have perhaps the most talented quarterback in the history of the game. Obviously, he hasn't had the career, like when we talk about who the greatest quarterbacks of all time are, he hasn't had the career that Joe Montana or Tom Brady has had. So we don't say that. But it's much like I talked about with, say, Calvin Johnson when I said, I understand that Jerry Rice is the greatest wide receiver of all time, but Calvin Johnson is purely more talented than he was. And I will always stand by that. Patrick Mahomes, I felt that way perhaps about Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes is even better than that. Patrick Mahomes is probably the most talented quarterback that's ever played the game. His sheer ability to do anything. So comparing to the Chiefs, come on, man, that's for the birds. There's one of those guys. Now, I think Lamar Jackson's outstanding. And I think there's plenty of things that he does as well. I think there are some things that he does better than Patrick Mahomes. But to say that if he just had a different offensive system, Lamar Jackson could be Patrick Mahomes would be as foolish as to say it about any other quarterback. We have nothing that says that any other quarterback in football can be Patrick Mahomes. You're not inherently wrong. The Ravens' path to success has smaller margins for error. I think I've said that about 1 billion times. This is not a team that's built to have things go wrong. They need things to go right. They can't have a day where their defense just stinks, where it's just not their day, and where they can't establish the run. And, they can't have that. I don't know how many teams can. You can keep pointing out the Chiefs. And you're probably right, but I'm still not even certain of that. As we say, when we bring up they lost in the AFC title game a year ago. Do you guys remember that? They didn't make the Super Bowl last year. I get it. We're so used to the Chiefs being involved at the end of the year that, we just kind of count on it. We just work under the assumption that they're going to be in the Super Bowl every year. They've made 2 of them. They've won 1. I get it. They've been in every AFC championship game. And if I was a betting man, they'll probably get back there. They've got Patrick Mahomes. He's really good. But for all of that, they've won one Super Bowl. And do you remember what happened the last time the Ravens played the Chiefs? I get it. They played a bit more up-tempo in that game, and they scored a few more points, and they played with a strategy that was more conducive to beating Kansas City specifically. And then, at the end of the game, they made a defensive play when they needed to make it. I get apprehensive when we make these comparisons, or we say that the Ravens, what they're doing isn't good enough because they're not the Chiefs. The idea that you're going to out-Chiefs the Chiefs seems unlikely. The Bills maybe are the closest example of that, but they also attempted to build a better defense than what they have in Kansas City, so they would have more paths to overcoming. I don't know that you're out-Chiefsing the Chiefs. I think you're going to have to go about finding a different way to win. And I think that's what the Ravens are trying to do. I can't tell you that it will work. I don't know. I sure as hell didn't know that Japan was going to beat Germany this morning. If I knew these things, I would have slightly more in my old FanDuel account. By the way, they're offering you $50 free tonight. They're running a special today in Maryland where if the Wizards and Heat combine for one or more three-pointers, you get even money on your bet up to $50. They're giving you $50. I would encourage you to maybe go make a deposit in the old FanDuel account and take your free $50. You want to check out right then? That's your right. You don't have to be a bettor. Put $50 in your account. Go win that bet. Take your free $50. Enjoy this weekend. Get yourself a couple more drinks if you're going out on Thanksgiving Eve. That's my response. My response is, you're not wrong. I think you're going to the extremes. I think you're making a mistake in how you view things. Just because you're not wrong that there's a smaller margin for error for the Ravens to succeed offensively, which I do agree with that. And then I had one more, but I guess we're supposed to talk to Jeff Lageman here in a second. I don't know. Chris got in this morning. Chris said, Chris, this is about something completely different. Chris is asking me about the coat drive. If you guys had been collecting coats this year because you were expecting us to do something with coats and with clothes, and I apologize. I did not know where the Helping Up mission was until a couple of weeks ago. I was expecting that we were going to do coats and clothes again this year. If you were collecting coats all year, Shawne Merriman's about to join us in an hour. He's collecting coats on Saturday at the Maryland game. I know it's a little out of the way if you happen to live in the greater Baltimore area, and I know that maybe the Maryland-Rutgers game isn't the sexiest matchup that you want to go spend your Saturday at. Just drive down there. You can meet Shawne Merriman. That's pretty cool. Drop off your coats. If that doesn't work and you've been collecting coats, clothes all year, then just do me a favor. Hit me up some way at Glenn Clark Radio. Chris, I will find somewhere that they can use them. Helping Up partners a lot of other shelters. They'll guide me in the direction of another place that could use those coats and clothes. So you okay?
Yeah, so we'll talk to Merriman. We'll talk to him in 20 minutes. And we'll also talk to Lageman right now.
Okay. So. All right. So we're changing things around a little bit. All right. Very good. That's fine. No problem. We'll talk to Shawne Merriman in about 20 minutes. Bring him your coats and clothes. Do me that favor. Bring them to him. He needs them on Saturday for his annual coat drive. And if that doesn't work, then just message me. But really, go to glennclarkradio.com. The details up for what we are doing for Helping Up Mission this year. And right now, the biggest thing we need toiletries, we need underwear. I get it. You have to go out and buy those things. So we're saying we'll do that for you if you're willing to make a cash donation. And if you do that, we're going to hook you up with a spot in a raffle to win an autographed Calais Campbell helmet or an autographed Trey Mancini print or a to-be-determined Tyus Bowser autographed piece of memorabilia. So go to glennclarkradio.com right now. The details are all there. Help us helping out. Help us help Helping Up Mission. Right now, find out more at glennclarkradio.com. Today's show is also brought to you by the Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants. If you're looking for a simple holiday meal, try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details. All right, Ravens Jaguars coming up this Sunday, as this is our final show for the week. Let's go ahead and look forward. Jacksonville coming off their bye. Joining us now, former Jags defensive end, now radio color analyst. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the program Mr. Jeff Lageman, who's with us now here on GCR. Jeff, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Yeah, not a problem, Glenn. I appreciate it. And by the way, when you pronounce Jaguars, you almost had like a little bit of the British accent
that was the bit that I was doing. I was doing, of course, the Jaguar, famously from Saturday Night Live. Thankfully, I do know better than to say Jaguars, Jeff. I do. As you're going to hear a lot of Baltimore accents probably this weekend. I'm thinking there's going to be a few folks making the trip down. I do know better than to say that. I do know how to pronounce the word Jaguar. I promise you. That was me having some fun this morning.
Yeah, well, I'm very aware of the Baltimore accent. You know, I grew up in Sterling, Virginia.
Yeah.
So I'm not far from Baltimore, and I'm a huge Baltimore fan. Love the Crabs, and it's a cool city to visit.
In the old division, everybody in Baltimore thought they were playing the Jaguars and the Bengals. The Bengals is the one that we still say around here that drives me nuts. All right, let's talk about the Jaguars. Jeff, can you explain? It really seemed early in the year like this was a team that was trending towards being relevant, like that we saw really good things out of Trevor Lawrence, and I think a lot of people thought the Doug Peterson hire was spectacular. Why have they not been able to continue on like that early season trend where it looked like they were moving towards playing really relevant football?
Well, I think part of it is that you've got a young quarterback, and you've had some inconsistencies with his play. And yes, it's year 2 for him, but last year was almost a complete throwaway year with Urban Meyer. It's kind of a lost season of sorts for the organization. So typical with a young quarterback, you have ups and downs. And so the beginning part of the season, things look good, and then hit a stretch there where there were some turnovers, and a lot of them at the hands of Trevor. And this offense just wasn't good enough to recover, and then the defense has regressed a little bit since the beginning of the year. So it's a typical trait of a young team with a new system and a new coach. And I think the more talent that this team can acquire, because this team just hasn't drafted well over the last couple of years, and that's one of the reasons why they went out and spent like a NFL record $323 million in free agent contracts to try to change the culture and change the direction of the franchise. But it just doesn't happen overnight. You know, Glenn, you're fortunate to have the Baltimore Ravens there. I mean, that's like the model of success in the National Football League, and one that many teams need to look at and to try to emulate. And the Jaguars are one of those teams that are trying to find their way.
There's no doubt. And look, I think there are pieces there still to like. They played a little bit better in the 2 games before the bye. Obviously got to win over the Raiders, and we're competitive against the Chiefs, who we all think is the best team in football right now. Do you feel like?
But I don't quite agree with you that that we're competitive against the Chiefs, and here's why.
Okay.
Look, the Chiefs are they're the standard. They got the best quarterback in the league. They got the best tight end. They've got 4 consecutive AFC Championship games that have been held in Kansas City, and the Jaguars just couldn't keep pace. And here's why. A lot of people think, wow, they played okay against Kansas City. Well, you really didn't, because you got 3 takeaways in that ball game. 3 takeaways, and then you also had a surprise onside kick where you got the ball at the -46. Then you had a great punt return where you had another opportunity with the ball at midfield at the -46. And offensively, you just didn't score enough points. So even though you feel like, okay, well, Kansas City wasn't that bad, well, in reality, when you had all those extra opportunities, you should have been in that game, if not leading that game at some point. And the Jaguars were never able to do that. The previous week against the Raiders, I mean, a team that has really struggled. If Derek Carr has any semblance of a good performance in the second half, the Jaguars don't make that comeback, which was the second largest in franchise history. So, I mean, look, this team is still young. It's still learning, and it's got a long ways to go. If you look at it over the last 2 years, they've won 4 games. So got a lot of road and a lot of work ahead.
So let's talk about, Jeff, what the path would be. This is I have worried a little bit about this being kind of a classic trap game. That this is a Jaguars team coming off a bye. It's Thanksgiving week where you just never know which players are fully bought in and know, hey, don't put anything in your body that you shouldn't be, and which young players are like, hey, I'm a conditioned athlete. I'm in my 20s. I can do whatever I want to do. It's a road trip. It's, a team that you might be overlooking a little bit. I have worried about this being kind of a trap game for the Ravens. What would the roadmap be for the Jaguars on Sunday to be able to figure out a way to be competitive or somehow beat the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, I think offensively you've got to be able to be balanced, and that's really what they weren't able to do in Kansas City. I consider Baltimore a really good football team, and so if you're going to beat a really good football team, you got to be able to score some points. That Ravens defense has been looking really good, as you know, and so for a young quarterback and a system that has a lot of newer parts, you've got to have kind of all things running. And last week against Kansas City, Travis Etienne, which had been a huge part of the offense in the previous 4 games, really wasn't a big factor against Kansas City with limited touches. And to be honest with you, Kansas City just won the battle in the trenches up front. They held Etienne to only 45 yards rushing. They were able to sack Trevor Lawrence 5 times. And so the Jaguars, if they're going to compete against the Ravens, they're going to have to stay on schedules and offense, have balance for a young quarterback that you just don't want to put too much pressure on yet, because I don't know if he has the explosive weapons at the skill position to really kind of get over the top yet. It's going to take time to build some of those weapons. And defensively for the Jaguars, the reality is that they're not rushing the passer extremely well. If you look at them from a sacks per pass attempt standpoint, just to give you a stat, they're 30th in the league, just to give you an idea. And that Baltimore does a great job of protecting a quarterback, and when he's not protected, he's a threat to run the ball every time. So that's a big challenge for a Jaguars defense that earlier in the year against Philadelphia, where you've got some of that RPO stuff with Jalen Hurts, it really, the Jaguars defense couldn't keep up. And so this is a big challenge this week because this defense has been struggling a little bit. They have struggled to find a second corner after Shaq Griffin went on injured reserve. They tried to figure out exactly at linebacker. Devin Lloyd, their first-round pick, 27th overall linebacker, has been inconsistent. They've been replacing him with a third-round pick, draft pick linebacker. So this defense is going to have its hands full every bit with the Ravens offense.
Can I want to go back to Trevor Lawrence if I could for a second. Jeff Lageman is with us, of course, Jaguars color analyst. We're getting ready for Ravens Jags on Sunday in Jacksonville. Is there still confidence that Trevor Lawrence is the guy? Is there still confidence? Obviously in New York it's a disaster with Zach Wilson, but is there still confidence that even though there have been growing pains, like he's definitely the guy? Get him a Calvin Ridley next season, which I thought was a tremendous acquisition for the Jaguars this year. Get him somebody like that next year, and the belief is still very much he's definitely the guy that obviously this franchise believed in significantly when they took him.
Well, I still believe significantly that he is going to be a franchise guy because first and foremost, he's got the mental makeup. He's got a mental toughness about him. He's smart. He's athletic. He's got the arm talent. I mean, all the tools are there. And if you look at his numbers from last year, he was at 59% completion rate. He had 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. But this year, it's gotten a lot better. The completion percentages jumped to 65%. His touchdown to interception ratio, he's 2-to-1 touchdowns to interception. So, I mean, look, he's making steady improvement. And I thought that his performance that he had against the Broncos in London a couple of weeks ago was a terrible performance. And I thought that the Raiders game the next week was going to be a big indicator on which path was he going to go. Was he going to be able to be that franchise guy? Would he continue to just struggle and will still not be sure, is he going to be the franchise guy? But he came out against Oakland and had a start that looked like his performance, or the beginnings of his performance that he had in London against the Broncos, and they were down 17-0. I was like, uh-oh, this is a problem.
Yep.
Well, Trevor, I mean, I give him credit, man. He stayed true. He didn't try to force things, and he stayed within himself, and the offense all of a sudden put a couple drives together, and they're right back in it. Ended up winning that ball game, and largely due in part because of his performance. You know, he's really consistent. His completion percentage was high. He reacted to pressure in a real positive way. So, I mean, when you see games like that, you just sit there and you go, man, he's got it. You know, but you also have to assemble better talent around him, and you got to improve the roster overall, because that's been one of the shortfalls with this organization. The roster's not where it needs to be.
No, I completely understand that. I mean, were you as high on the Ridley move as I was? Like, I think it's truly a no-brainer type of acquisition for this team.
I think it's good, and from the standpoint of, okay, there's very minimal risk, okay, to get what may be a franchise guy. But then on the flip side of that, to say, well, wait a minute, maybe it's not good. Okay, well, you're trading for a player that was suspended by the league.
Right.
Okay, and for an entire year for gambling, and okay, well, I don't care. You know, a lot of people can kind of judge the gambling thing, and he's got some mental health issues. And look, I hope all of those were taken care of. But you wonder, because if there's been bumps in the road for a player, then will there be bumps in the road in the future? So, you know, you're excited about it just because it's a minimal risk situation or a minimal risk move. But at the same token, the reason why you were able to get that minimal risk, there's a reason for that.
I understand that. I completely understand everything. It seems like it's a risk worth taking for a franchise like that. At a point where, you know, it didn't seem like you're going anywhere. You could be the team that could sit on a player and say, we might have found something, and it really does feel that way. Jeff, is there anything, you know, like as far as the rest, is there anything that shows you that this is maybe a team that could trend back upwards and go into next season, again, with the young quarterback, that makes you say, like, there is an opportunity, even if they're probably not going to be a playoff team, if they're not going to catch up with the Titans, but that they could be playing for something to be building for next year that could make the Jaguars a little bit more dangerous the rest of the way?
Well, I think that Doug Peterson has done a fantastic job. And I think what we're seeing on a week-to-week basis with their offense and the design of the plays, I'm telling you that Doug Peterson is one of the most challenging offensive minds in football, right up there with Andy Reid. I mean, he's just got that. You know, how many other people can sit there and say, well, you know what, we beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl and we outcoached them. And I thought that's what happened when Doug Peterson led the Eagles to the Super Bowl back in 2017. So I'm excited about him. I'm excited about what he's been doing offensively. I think defensively there's still some things that need to grow. You know, Mike Caldwell's a first-year defensive coordinator, and I think he's doing a good job. But I think the more time on task that he has, the better he's going to be, the more that they understand their talent from a defensive standpoint, the better that they'll be. And then also when they get better personnel, I think they'll be better on defense. So I think they're trending in the right direction. I think Doug has provided a real steady approach with building this organization along with Trent Baalke, the general manager. And so I think the arrow's pointing up. And most importantly, because I feel like Trevor Lawrence is a franchise guy. But sometimes, you know, we all want immediate success for a young quarterback, and that's just not always how it happens. And you go back and you look at some of the greats. I mean, Troy Aikman in the first year, everybody was doubtful he was going to be even a guy that was going to be capable, and turned into a Hall of Fame guy. So I'm not saying Trevor's going to be a Hall of Fame guy, but I think all the signs that I'm seeing with Trevor Lawrence, I think he's going to be a franchise guy, and this organization is good from that aspect. The hardest part to fix in an organization, now you got to do everything else around him.
At Logs56 on Twitter is how you follow him. Jeff Lageman, really appreciate you taking the time for us this morning. A very happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. I think there's going to be a handful of Ravens fans down there in Jacksonville to say hello on Sunday. Appreciate you spending some time with us.
Hey, no problem, Glenn. I appreciate it.
That's Jeff Lageman, the color analyst for the Jaguars Radio Network, checking in with us here on GCR ahead of Ravens Jags on Sunday. I don't think it's going to be as many. I've been trying to take. I feel like everybody went in on the Tampa and New Orleans games. I don't get the sense that it's going to be quite as many Ravens fans. They're going to be down in Jacksonville on Sunday, but it seems like there's a handful that are headed down that way. It has been a good travel year for the Ravens this season, so I think there's going to be some, but not quite as many. Obviously, there were massive Ravens, huge pockets of Ravens fans that went down for the Tampa and the New Orleans games this year. Today's show is also brought to you by your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. We're going to be telling you more about Would You Rather Wednesday coming up in a bit. Again, at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. You can find the scenarios. And if you missed it earlier on in the week, Stan the Fan, Charles, and Ross Grimsley caught up with Mike Bordick. You can find that right now, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline, PressBoxOnline.com/video for this week's Stan the Fan conversation, talking baseball with Ross and Mike Bordick. When we come back in, we're going to talk to the legend, Shawne Merriman. That's next. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
UMBC basketball is back at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena, and tickets are available now at umbcretrievers.com. Don't miss any of the great early season matchups as the men take on local rivals Coppin State on November 30th and Morgan State on December 10th, while the women square off with American on December 18th. Experience the excitement of game day at the Peak by getting your tickets right now to come see the Retrievers at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena. Lock yours in at umbcretrievers.com.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, new Maryland basketball coach Kevin Willard sits down with Stan Charles and Glenn Clark to discuss the situation he inherited in College Park and how he plans to get the program turned around. Also, inside, we introduce you to men's and women's college basketball players from all of the teams in the area. And Bo Smoka profiles Ravens receiver Devin Duvernay. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
Join Glenn at halftime of every Ravens game for the Project Game Day halftime show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports. We apologize in advance. There's not much we can do about his face.
If you haven't been to Guilford Hall Brewery, don't know what you're waiting for. Tonight, of course, being one of the biggest nights for going out all year long, I think tonight would be a perfect night to check out Guilford Hall. Maybe you're trying to get back together with some folks that you knew from high school or college. check out Guilford Hall. Truly a gem in our city. 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North. The craft brew selection is amazing. You got to try the Guilford Hall Lager. The Bavarian-inspired menu, so delicious. They've always got something going on at Guilford Hall, whether it's live music or yappy hour where you can bring out your pup or even, just a bar trivia. It's an awesome, awesome spot. Guilford Hall Brewery, 1611 Guilford Avenue in Station North, guilfordhall.com. When I saw how many of these our next guest has now done, I actually panicked a little bit because it made me realize how old I was, and I don't much care for that. This is the 20th time, that the great Shawne Merriman is returning home, and this, of course, dates back to when he was in this area before his legendary NFL career. But he is returning home for his annual Lights On Foundation coat drive this Saturday at the Maryland-Rutgers game. He is Mr. Lights Off himself. He is the great Shawne Merriman, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Shawne, it's Glenn. It's always good to catch up with you, man. I'm telling you, that number 20 really messed with me, though, bro. Oh.
Hey, that makes both of us.
Yeah.
I was, you look back on it and you see how time just flies by, man. But it's, the 20 is always kind of that benchmark where you're like, okay, this has been going on a really long time now. So, but it's always good, man. It feels like, one of the biggest times of the year, and I'm just glad everyone is still supporting this.
It's incredible what you've done, man. It really is, and I know it's transpired. You've been to football games, you've been to basketball games. Just take me, for those, and I know you and I have had this conversation probably about 20 times over the years, but for those that don't know it, just remind everybody of the genesis of how all of this started. Of course, we know you as Mr. Light, or you take time to come home every year to continue it.
Yeah, Glenn, I grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland, man. This is my home. And, me, my mom, and my sister, we were left homeless because of a fire when I was a kid. And I just remember being out there in the cold. We couldn't afford a coat. We had we doubled up on sweaters and sweatshirts. And me and my sister were looking around. We had socks in our hands. And I just remember that particular day. And I said, you know what? I don't want anyone else to feel like this. So if I ever had a platform to change that I would. And so my freshman year at the University of Maryland, when I started, I thought we were going to get 100 coats. I was happy about it. If we can get 100, that's 100 people out here that don't have to go without a coat during the winter. And the first time out, we got over 2,500 coats. And at that moment, man, I knew that it was something that I had to continue on. And now 20 years later, we're over 35,000 coats. And so that's over 35,000 people that is going, with the coat this winter, and we're helping people that can't help themselves.
It's awesome, man. It's such an amazing thing that you've done, and again, continue to make sure that you do. Despite, I know you're a West Coast guy these days, but making sure you're coming home and doing this, it's really an amazing thing. So as far as Saturday is concerned, where will you be? I'm sure there are still people that are like, hey, I want to bring out a coat, but I really kind of want to meet Shawne Merriman. I've never had the opportunity. Where will you be? What gate can people find you at if they bring out their coats on Saturday?
Yes, we're going to post. I'll be at the 3 different gates walking around. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. And for the people who can't make it on the campus, the downtown locker or the DTLRs in that College Park area or around that College Park area, if you go to one, they have 3 drop-off points. But, yeah, I'll be at all the gates walking around for the few hours before the game, and then certain parts of the game early on, I'll still be there. And, look, whatever you have, sweaters and coats, come and empty out that closet. I'm sure we all got clothes stacked up that we haven't worn in years, but just know that you'll be helping out a lot of people during this cold winter.
No, it's awesome what you do. I was wondering if you understand the impact that you've had. One of my close friends, of course, is AJ Francis, and we just had his annual food drive last year, and he and I were talking, and he kind of referred to you as the Godfather. He was like, man, I gotta keep that legacy going. What Shawne's doing for the community, I gotta keep doing that. We all have to pick up our part. Have you had an understanding of what that impact has been for the next generation of Maryland football players and guys in this area saying, all right, now I need to step up for the community the way that you have?
Yeah, it's been great with AJ because I'm a fan of his and just what he's done on the next level, his post-career. and I've been following him. And congratulations for him for having another canned food drive. But when you're from here, and I take a lot of pride because I believe this D.C., Maryland, Virginia area is special. It's a special place in this country. It's nothing like it. You said I've been on the West Coast, but I still have not seen anything like this DMV area. So it's important for me to come out and represent, and to see someone like AJ who has success post-career and other things, and then many others. I mean, get a chance. Stephon Diggs hit me up some time, and just I talked to Torrey. So all these guys that kind of came after me, it's really been a blessing and honor for them to kind of watch, and then also continue, man, because that's what this thing is about. I'm not going to be here forever, but I want this next generation of people know that how important it is to give back and stay home, stay in the community, because other people will then be watching them.
Man, it's all well said. By the way, when you bring up Torrey, I think that dude is single-handedly trying to pick up this entire area, man. It's unbelievable, all of the many things that he has done for this community. So it's a really good point. Shawne Merriman is with us again. The coat drive is this Saturday at the Maryland-Rutgers game. Please go empty out your closets, the stuff you're not wearing anymore. You know what you shouldn't be. If it's ratty, if nobody should be wearing it, please. That's not the thing. But anything that you're not wearing anymore, maybe your kids have grown out of it. I think that's always important, right, Shawne? Kids need stuff too. If your kids have grown out of something, that's perfect for you to bring out this Saturday for Shawne's 20th annual coat drive. Any chance that you could help out a little bit? I mean, this Saturday, I'm hoping they won't need it. It was so tough last Saturday watching that because you can just see how much better they are, the impact that Mike Locksley has made. It's just, my God, the difference still between Maryland and Ohio State. It's very difficult to close that gap.
Yeah, I want to start by saying this. We have, and I just talked about how special this area is. We have the most talent in this DMV area. I believe that everyone stayed home, stayed here in the area. We can compete with anybody in the country. I'm talking about all the Texas football, all the California football, Florida football, Georgia football. We can compete with anybody in the country. So that's one thing. The second part of it is that when you watch the Michigan game, you watch the Ohio State game, and realize how close those guys really are to being good. I mean, they're a second string off from having a 4-star recruit, in the offensive lineman, the defensive lineman position, from getting a chance to win a championship. And I'm not joking about that. To me, in my opinion, best wide receiver core in the country. And the running backs, with him being those guys, they're not even getting the national credit that they deserve. So when you look at how this team is built and the new stars and recruits is coming in here, if you're not excited for the next 2, 3, 4+ years of Maryland football, it's crazy, because I really do believe, after watching that Michigan game and Ohio State game, how close they really are to being a great football team.
I think you're saying something that's really strong, and you know more than anyone, because you were someone that was there before there was the movement, before there was Mike Locksley getting the head coaching job, and you were one of the local guys that stepped up and said it. But there's no doubt that there is way more of an appetite at this point for kids from this area to say, no, I'm going to stick it out and stay right here. And again, I don't know that means that Maryland's going to be ready to win the Big Ten next year, but you can absolutely see the impact that Mike Locksley is having and how real he is as a human being, and how much that's translated to young men from this area saying, no, I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to try to do this as a Terrapin.
You can see Mike Locksley's leadership towards the guys in that locker room, and how they respond, how they react. I've gotten an opportunity to sit in some team meetings, and I just know that this is probably one of the most close and tight-knit groups they've had in several years there. And so, like I've really said this, they're a little bit off. I mean, they're a 5-star quarterback away in the next couple of years. They're a 5-star left and right tackle, and I mean they're right there. And so if they get these guys that are from this area to stay home, there's no doubt in my mind. And I know you said they're not ready to win a Big Ten championship. I believe in the next couple of years they can. And with this recruiting class coming in and plus one more, I really do think they can. They just, in my opinion, they can't let the Purdue's and those games slip by or look that way against Wisconsin or Penn State. If they're able to fix those little bit, those problems and not have those letdowns, I do believe they can win a Big Ten championship in the next couple of years.
I love the sounds of it, man. I love the sounds of that. Shawne, I want to ask you about what we're dealing with here in Baltimore, which is The Ravens are playing really good football. It's just a little bit different than like the Chiefs or the Bills or some of the teams that are thought of as the favorites in the NFL. The Ravens are prioritizing holding the ball and playing defense. And they went out and they got a Roquan Smith who's been unbelievable, making that transition in the middle of a season, proving just how good he is. Does this work? Does time of possession and running the ball and playing defense, can that work to win a Super Bowl when you're going up against the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes of the world when you get to the playoffs?
Yeah, it can. And they've become one of the most gritty teams in football. And when I say by that, by keeping the offense on the field, running little plays, not expecting the big splash, and that's why they're not getting the media attention in this, in football, because they are so gritty. We're so used to clapping and patting Patrick Mahomes on the back and Josh Allen and some of these guys who just said that we forgot that teams out here can win in other ways, and that's what they're doing. They're playing great defense. They're, getting the strong 3 and 4 yards and hitting the big plays when they have to. You can win a lot of football games that way, and they're proven to do just that. And by the way, Glenn, is the most frustrating for a defense, right? Because you want those big plays. That's how I got my sacks. I want you to throw the ball down the field. And if you're not doing that, it is a very, very frustrating feeling.
Wow, that's an interesting point. Like that, really, do I really want to stand in here and have to defend the run all day and take on some, offensive linemen that are coming at me all day long instead of me being able to get after them?
And that's what it is. I mean, look at the Ravens team, some of the best teams they've had. The year they went to the Super Bowl, I believe they were averaging like 11 or 12 points or something like that, right? But they played the run the ball, played great defense, control the clock, don't throw, any interceptions or turn the ball over. You'll be surprised, even now today where the game has shifted, where it's mostly a passing situation, big plays down the field. You'll be surprised how many games you can win by just grinding it out, playing gritty football as they are.
Man, I still continue to believe it's possible. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I choose to believe that it's possible. I wanted to ask you about what Justin Houston is doing this season, only because he's almost your age. Like, he's not that far off, and yet he's been having an unbelievable 8.5 sacks in 7 games that he's played this season. Can you believe what Justin Houston, and I'll throw another guy in there, Calais Campbell, because if he's almost your age, Calais Campbell is basically your age, right? And has still been at a very high level. How impressed have you been by what these kind of old heads have been doing in Baltimore this season?
Well, I like to compare those to like an old boxer, right? If you see Mike Tyson, he probably couldn't fight you for 12 rounds, but he could still knock you out with one punch. I mean, that's basically when you talk about those two guys. If you put Justin Houston on the edge, Justin Houston, in my opinion, has always had one of the best takeoffs and bursts out off the line of scrimmage in football for a very long time. And so we're seeing him being able to not do it for 4 quarters, but he's doing it when he needs to. Same thing with Calais. I seen him some time ago, and he made jokes that I had a couple gray hairs, and I've known him for a long time. He said, "Hey, Shawne, you got to call." I said, "Man, look, stay away from me. All right, you getting yours too." So
yeah, right.
He's just a great individual, but he's an anchor for that, not just that defense, but for that team. He's such a great person, all he does, but he's still dominant when he needs to be, and I use that. I use the correlation between old boxer all the time, because as you get older, you can't do it as much. They're not going to play 4 quarters of great football, but they will be able to stand up when the team needs them to do it.
No, it's really well said, man. Really well said. Last one for you on the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, of course, still, we got this contract thing that's hanging over him. There is a story this week about the NFLPA wanting to talk about collusion when it comes to fully guaranteed contracts, and it's very clear that's what Lamar Jackson wants. He wants a fully guaranteed contract. The word collusion is a tough one to throw around, right? Because you're not supposed to accuse anybody of collusion, but it definitely seems as though the league does not want the Deshaun Watson contract to become standard for quarterbacks moving forward. What do you make of the importance of this fight? What Lamar is sort of standing up and saying, I'm not just going to take, even if you offer me a good contract, I'm not taking it. This is my value, is I deserve to be fully guaranteed. What do you make of that?
Well, you can go across the board, right? let's start out with Dak's situation. I mean, in my opinion, does Dak Prescott deserves the money? I mean, he hasn't went too far in the playoffs. They won a lot of, won some games, but haven't got them to the next level. In my opinion, Kyler Murray contract is way overpriced. For what he's done. And I'm not talking about talent. He's a very talented player.
Sure.
But as far as what he's actually done and accomplished on the field, does his contract warrant what he's done on the field? Probably not. So Lamar Jackson has every right in the world. If you're talking about one person who does deserve that big contract, it's him. I would deliver a bigger guaranteed and bigger contract than all of those guys for what he's accomplished. He has the bigger upside. He's probably going to go win a ring before those other guys will. He's done more. If you look at his stats and number, he's done more than those guys collectively across the board and with his win percentage and some of the things. So if you are going to pay someone, it has to be him. Now, I don't know if it's such a big guarantee that it doesn't make any sense. It could disrupt the team. I'm not the GM there. I don't know their strategy across the board. But if you look at the current market and who has gotten guaranteed contracts, Lamar Jackson needs to be number one.
I agree. I get it. I get why they're slow and they don't want to be in a race to give out fully guaranteed money. But my God, that if the option is fully guaranteed money or not having Lamar Jackson, I think I know what the answer to that question is. It's fully guaranteed money, and you solve the problem otherwise, because the world where you don't have Lamar Jackson is not a world where I want to live. Shawne Merriman's 20th annual Lights On Foundation Coat Drive this Saturday ahead of the Maryland-Rutgers game. Please stop by with your coats to help keep folks warm this holiday season. At Shawne Merriman on Twitter. Shawne, what else can we plug for you? You're like one of the most significant moguls. You're doing a little bit of everything. What else can I get a plug in for you for?
January 14th, if you have Fubo TV, Lights Out Extreme Fight, my MMA company, we're starting back up, and we're going every month for a year. So January 14th, we're announcing a big fight. It'll be on Fubo TV, Fubo Sports. Check us out. If you don't have it, get it. But also, too, man, I'm looking to bring some fights back here in, my hometown.
That's awesome. Wow, we love that. That would be really, really cool. Shawne, always appreciate you, man. It is so great to hear from you. A very happy Thanksgiving to you. We will look forward to seeing you out there on Saturday at the Maryland game. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
Same here, man. Thanks for having me as always.
Shawne Merriman, we love that guy. Appreciate him taking the time for us. And, again, get out this Saturday to the Maryland football game and support his annual coat drive. Today's show, or just a reminder, in fact, next Tuesday night, the 29th, the next Tyus Bowser show. We're going to be at Mother's Peninsula Grill in Arnold. Tyus and his special guest. Tyus Bowser show is a partnership of Pressbox and Great 8's Memorabilia. It is brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. Come join us next Tuesday night, Mother's Peninsula Grill in Arnold. We will continue our 10th anniversary celebration of the Ravens run to Super Bowl XLVII. My buddy Ed Dickson is going to join us next. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Experience the best in Kamado Grilling, a complete outdoor cooking appliance. The Ginsu Kamado Grill allows anyone to sear, grill, bake, and smoke all types of food. Designed for efficiency and function, the Ginsu Kamado Grill upholds the enduring legacy of the iconic Ginsu brand. The Ginsu Kamado Grill is perfect to cook all year round, is great for parties, and ideal for tailgating with your friends. Reserve your Ginsu Kamado Grill today at ginsugrills.com and get $100 off on your pre-order when you use the promo code TAILGATE. That's ginsugrills.com. Reserve yours today.
UMBC basketball is back at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena, and tickets are available now at umbcretrievers.com. Don't miss any of the great early season matchups as the men take on local rivals Coppin State on November 30th and Morgan State on December 10th, while the women square off with American on December 18th. Experience the excitement of game day at the Peak by getting your tickets right now to come see the Retrievers at Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena. Lock yours in at umbcretrievers.com.
Another Orioles season is in the books, and the Bat-Around was there every step of the way as the Birds posted their first winning season in 6 years. And after promoting 2 #1 overall prospects in Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, Mike Elias has said it's liftoff from here. Hi, I'm Paul Valley, and along with my co-host Zach Goodman, we'll be here every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon all off season, discussing every signing, trade, and waiver claim as we navigate the cold winter months that lead to spring training. You can watch us at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and facebook.com/PressBoxSports, or listen live at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. And if you miss a show, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. So tune into the Bat Around with Paul Valley and Zach Goodman every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon right here at PressBox Sports.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
If you can't listen or watch live, you can subscribe to the show via Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review while you're there. Or, if lying isn't your thing, we'll take a 3.5-star review too.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue on a Wednesday edition of the program. Today's show is also brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Keep trying to tell you, Friday afternoon, USA, England. It is going to be a rabid atmosphere in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel with everybody off of work. I would reserve your spot right now by emailing events@sportssocialmd.com. That's events@sportssocialmd.com. Get a table for you and your friends, reclining chairs. It's going to be unbelievable now with mobile betting as well. You don't even have to get up from your seat, and the atmosphere is going to be bonkers for the USA-England match on Friday afternoon. So, again, reserve your spot by emailing events@sportssocialmd.com. All throughout this season, we have been taking some time to catch up with members of the Ravens Super Bowl XLVII championship team as we've celebrated the 10th anniversary this year. And this guy, I know I've talked a lot about how much I like a lot of the guys on this team that we've had on. This guy's really special to me. Not only a really good dude, not only the Ravens starting tight end in Super Bowl XLVII, he recently decided that he wanted to make it official. He wanted to declare that he had retired from the NFL as a Baltimore Raven. And he was one of the folks that I knew that encouraged me when we were, hanging around. He would often say, "Glenn, you need to marry that girl." As he had been around with myself and my now wife at a few events that we had done. And he is a truly good man. It is a pleasure to welcome back to the program my friend, Mr. Ed Dickson, who's back with us now here on GCR. Ed, it's Glenn. It's so good to catch up, man. Thank you for taking the time as always, dude.
Man, Glenn, congratulations on your marriage, and you took my advice, and the best of luck to you and your wife. And I'm happy to be on the radio, man, talking about the Raven flock.
Bro, it's been too long, man. It's been too long. By the way, I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old son now on top of everything else. I remember, of course, you becoming a father. I think a lot of people remember you becoming a father and how special it was to you. Dude, it is even more special than you explained it to me once upon a time.
Man, that's something in life that I don't take for granted. Becoming a father for the first time and becoming an NFL player for the first time on the same day.
Yeah.
You can imagine emotions going crazy. That happened to me on the exact same day, September 13th, 2010, and I would never forget that day.
It was the Jets game, the Monday night game, correct?
It was the Jets game,
yep.
And my wife at the time went into labor early in the morning, and I was like, man, I was conflicted on being there for her and then being there for my first game, and then I landed on a decision with her, blessing to stay and help the team. We won by one point, I think. And then I just flew back to be with my son, to be with her at the hospital. And That was a kind of special day.
Man, I remember. I swear to God, dude, I remember the words you said, like that. Seeing his face, like that. You didn't even want to give him a name until you saw his face, and then what that meant to you to see his face. It stayed with me for a long time, bro. Those were really impactful words about becoming a father, man. And they still motivate me to this day in the importance of the role that I play. Let's talk about you. Before we talk about the anniversary, last week, you made the decision that you wanted to publicly declare that you had retired as a Raven. Kind of take me through that. Why was that something for you, for your family, that you wanted to have out there, that you had retired as a Raven?
Well, for a while now, for like 3 years, I debated on going back and playing. The late team I played for was the Seattle Seahawks. Kind of weird ending. I had my first injury in 10 years of football. It wasn't a major injury. It was like a meniscus, like knee scope. That knee scope led me off the field for about a year or so with soreness and kind of getting everything back. And I finally got to a spot, but mentally, physically, I wasn't in a place where I wanted to go back and play. Financially, I was good. So I was like, I kind of was doing other things, and then, being a father, of two, then I was a father of three, then now four. I had four kids. I couldn't imagine going back and leaving them for, if I went back and play, at that time, teams are reaching out, especially the Ravens are reaching out, checking in on me, making sure that everything was good and seeing that, if I was available. And I was like, I couldn't imagine it because I'm a West Coast guy, going back and play and leaving them. I'm addicted to, my kids, well-being, their education, making sure everything's good. My daughter's playing soccer. So, kind of everything went in perspective, and I was like, you know what, it's time for me to hang the cleats up. And there was no other team that I can think about to retire. I had a lot of success with Baltimore, probably more success with Carolina. Seattle was okay. I'm a part of a lot of people's legend community, but Baltimore started for me. Baltimore laid the foundation, laid everything that I know from football. I got from Baltimore, from leadership to, ownership of your own career. There was no other place I could think about retiring than, coming home to Baltimore and retiring.
It's powerful, man. How much of that, we hear from so many guys about how the community is just different surrounding this organization. And, it doesn't mean that it's a guarantee that you're going to win the Super Bowl every year, but I do think it matters. How much of that, like not to trash the other organizations that you played with, but how much of that was an impact in making a decision like this, that you wanted to be known as part of that community and what's such a special sort of way of doing business within the Ravens organization?
Well, I'm still heavily rooted in the Baltimore community, Reisterstown Road, Owens Mills, different things in Baltimore. I just recently went back last year for the A Block Courage Awards, and the way that community, supports the team, supports all the sports around there, but supports, comes out and represents, they build me as a young player, as a boy, turned into a man. I came there, eyes open, trying to build a career, went from, didn't know anything to taking that from when I left Baltimore, taking that to Carolina, then taking Carolina to a Super Bowl. We ended up winning that, but taking them to a Super Bowl, and then potentially taking Seattle to, to the playoffs and things like that. I would have never been able to do that, the leadership, the roles that I played on these different teams without experiencing that experience in Baltimore, from the team, from the community, from the organization, from everything about Baltimore.
It's awesome. That's so cool. Ed Dickson is with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Ed, you had a monster season, obviously your second year here in Baltimore. But I remember you and I talking a lot about, I'm sure you wanted to put up even bigger numbers. You wanted to be, that's the nature of playing the position that you were playing. And yet what you did as a blocker was so freaking important for what the Ravens were able to do in winning the Super Bowl. And I I wonder, like, the humility that comes with that, right? Like, how it is that even if you're disappointed, like, that you want to be more involved, that you want to have insane production, how it is that you're able to say, yes, but I'm still going to go do this thing, and I'm going to do it better than anybody in the league, and I'm going to make a life, if that's what it takes, being that guy and having the reputation of being one of the best blocking tight ends in the history of football, even though I'm sure it's difficult and bittersweet because, everybody wants to be Shannon Sharp or, Kellen Winslow, insert name here, right? Like, how'd you go through that to turn yourself into truly one of the greatest blocking tight ends we've ever seen?
Well, I mean, it was a kind of transition period because I was drafted as a pass catcher, and then that was one of my knocks that, I couldn't block. I couldn't block that good, and I wasn't a good blocker. So when the opportunity presented itself, opportunity presented itself with Dennis Pitta, arriving as, a pass catcher, and we were in this at the same time. We were in the league with the Aaron Hernandez, rest in peace his soul, Aaron Hernandez and Gronkowski's and stuff like that. Those were like dual tight ends that we kind of mocked and we wanted to be like, but we didn't have the same offense, have the same coordinator, same things like that. So when Dennis got his opportunity and then I found myself not getting any pass catches, I looked to the team and see what the team needed. We always had strong running backs. We always had good returners in the special teams. And if Baltimore fans didn't know, our head coach and still head coach right now came from special teams. Yep. If we didn't go out and put on good performance in special teams, we didn't play as players. So I took to those things. I took to being a really good special teams player, and I played every special teams, and being a really good blocker because I understood, I can see the field, just not catching passes, by blocking for our running backs like Ray Rice or Bernard Pierce or different things because we needed a strong running game, especially in our division. Our division is cold no matter where we go. We're not going to be able to throw the ball 1,000 times in our division. We're going to need to run the ball, stuff like that. So, I just took that opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to become a better pass blocker. They're not going to be able to stop me from being on the field, one on special teams, or because I produce, good run blocking that's going to help our run game and going to help us become balanced in this passing attack and running attack.
Man, you were pretty damn good at it, bro. And it turned in to a decade in the NFL, right? Like, not everybody gets that. Not everybody gets to have that type of career. But because of that commitment, you get to spend a decade and you get to call yourself a Super Bowl champion. And, oh, man, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. All right, so you get to be back here with yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to put on that. It started in Baltimore, but it carried over even more in Carolina when I got a chance to team up with Greg Olsen, and he understood. Yeah. Greg Olsen, he thanks me to today because he went 3 seasons back to back with 1,000 yards because, with the help of his sidekick, myself, I was able to take on those roles of. I was at a few years with Carolina, I was the number 1 pass blocking tight end in the league, and that says a lot because we did a lot of 2 tight end things.
Yep.
The year we went to the Super Bowl when we were beating every team, and we dang near were undefeated all the way through the season. We lost 2 games that year. That was Super Bowl and one other game. That's hard to duplicate. I think the Dolphins has the number 1 record where they went undefeated.
They went undefeated,
that. But we put up numbers in that game, and those are things people, the fans and all things, they don't see that and don't understand. They only see the romantic part of it. They'll, this kid, the Travis Kelce's, he out there scoring 3 touchdowns. I would love to do that, but the pieces that's why this is a total team game. The pieces that you don't see, the pieces that's behind the scene, the pieces that help, protect the pass catch, the passer for the pass catcher to catch the ball. Those are the pieces that's going to keep everything rolling, and those are the pieces that's going to get you to the goal of that Super Bowl, along with, plenty of other pieces
By the way, it always, I don't know if I've told you this before, but it helps me a lot. Like, I'll be out, a bunch of Ravens fans. Be like, you think you're a heck of a Ravens fan, huh? Remind me, who was the starting tight end in Super Bowl 47? I always get them. I always get them because they all say Pitta. And I say, yeah, you're wrong. It was my guy. It was Ed Dickson, man. That was the answer to the question. Being back around the guys a couple weeks ago, I know Joe wasn't able to be there because he's still playing, a couple guys, but it was so many of you. Can you put that into words, what that experience was like? Was there someone in particular? I see you, and you, of course, know Arthur was one of my other, best friends on that team. Love that guy. I know you guys have stayed in touch over the years, but was there somebody that you hadn't seen in a while that maybe it meant something really special to you to get back together with them while you guys were here in Baltimore a few weeks back?
Man, it meant a lot to me because I haven't been back to that many Ravens games because I'm a West Coast guy. But to see, everybody from Steve Bisciotti to Ozzie Newsome to a lot of people from the facility that played a pivotal part in my life when I was young, trying to raise my son. They were babysitting for me, to Manny in the kitchen from the cook. Everybody that I got to see was a warm, welcome back, from Sis to Ray to Ed Reed. I got along with a lot of defensive players because we competed every day.
No doubt.
But along with it goes without saying with the offensive players because we had to gel together. But we competed every single day. They understood. One thing that I took from my career and that I always try to do to carry on is, I had to earn the respect from the guys in the locker room by competing. They wasn't just going to respect me because I had the jersey on, do that. Just competing with those guys, you earn their respect. The Paul Krugers, the Scissors, the freaking Pernell McPhee's, the different things. I had to collide with them every single day, and I earned their respect. And just to see them, a lot of those guys embraced me. But it was great to see, Wade Harmon, Dennis Pitta. We laughed and joked, see him, his wife. I didn't get to see his wife, but his son Decker. It was good to see everybody. I would love to see Joe, Tyrod. They still playing in the league, but we talked about it, and all those guys. We didn't want it to end. We talked about trying to do things annually, once or twice a year, and it came from those leaders. Those leaders that's on the team. They mentioned it, and Ed Reed, they said, man, this don't need to be, every 10 years. Let's get together every year and try to do it. And that's kudos to, Matt and Harbs and Steve Bisciotti in putting this together. But it's up to us to, keep that going.
I love that, man. Ed, when somebody asks you, how did it happen, right? Like, you're in a special class of people. I mean, Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, right? Like, you are in a special, elevated group of humans that know what that feeling is like to have that confetti fall. What do you say when somebody says, how did it happen? How did that team that was good, but you remember, of course, there were trials and tribulations. It was looking pretty hairy there in December for a little while. How did it happen?
Right.
How do you explain how your group was able to make that run and touch that confetti in New Orleans?
Well, I'm a fan of football. I'm always gonna be a fan of football. And people that's listening to this, it's not always the best team that wins that year. It's the team that's gelling when the time comes, the most healthy team, and the team that takes, everything in consideration, offense, defense, and special teams, and says, hey, we're playing our best football. We're the team of destiny. We need to keep that rolling. At that time, we went through ups, downs, didn't even think we were going to make the playoffs, to we all just start clicking and playing together as a team. That's why I love this sport. It's the ultimate team sport. It's ultimate team sport. You need all different, you need offense, defense, and special teams to gel to win it all. And that's what we did. We didn't have the top offense in the league that year. We had a lot of individual players that did stuff to make it work. Our defense was playing lights out, and our special teams was, spot on. That helped us carry that load into one game at a time taking it one game at a time to win the Super Bowl. And it wasn't easy, and that's what's going to take this year. Do I think Baltimore can win the Super Bowl this year? Without a doubt. You get inside the playoffs, you have a chance to make it, to the Super Bowl. Just got to take it one game at a time.
From your lips to God's ears, bro. We're ready for another one. We're ready. It's been a decade. It's been too long. We get spoiled in Baltimore, man. Imagine what it's like to be in somewhere like Jacksonville, where they're like, yeah, we just like to feel what that must feel like. Whereas here in Baltimore, we're itching because it's been a decade.
Oh my God,
we are spoiled.
I couldn't imagine. I'm not knocking Jacksonville.
Right.
Like that. I couldn't imagine.
That's tough, man. That's tough. It's a tough deal.
Right.
Ed Dickson, bro, I'm so happy for you, man. For you, for your I can't believe it's 4 now. Holy crap, dude. I don't know how you do that, man. I have no idea. Dude, I got 2 boys, and just making sure they're not concussed at any time of the day is very difficult for me, bro.
I got 3 boys and my daughter.
Man.
And I think my daughter's at this point, because I got younger boys, they're both athletic. She's a spitting image of me.
Wow.
She's smart. She's smart like her mom, but she walks and runs just like me. She's soccer, basketball, and she's still a girly girl. She likes her cheerleading, but she's awesome. It.
That's awesome, man. You're giving me goosebumps just hearing you talk about it. Is there anything at all that you're doing that we can plug for you? Is there anything you're involved with? I know you're kinda on Twitter, but not really. I don't think you use it all that much. Is there?
Actually, no. Go ahead.
No. Anything at all? What can we plug for you?
No. I still do a lot of charity work. I still go back to my alma mater, Oregon Ducks, and go do a lot of charity work with the Boys and Girls Club. There, I go. They have Block Courage Awards. I try to get back and do that. Right now, for myself, I'm actually in the process of building or opening up my a franchise. It's called Hot Works, and it hasn't came out yet, so I'm not trying to promote that or do anything yet. But look for that coming out on the West Coast. Hot Works is a 3D infrared training facility. And it's kind of like it helped me through my injury the last 3 years, and I was like, man, I'd love to do this. So
cool.
I'm doing that. Other than real estate, I'm pretty much a full-time father, and I'm enjoying watching my kids grow, being there, not being gone and working 40, 50-hour weeks, maybe even longer with football, and that kind of spearheaded me, laying the cleats down. I couldn't imagine being away from them, being away from my wife now, and that's what allowed me to do it. But I'm still a fan, I still Raven flock and check in with the Ravens, and making sure they know everything's good. So
awesome.
Hopefully they can pull it together here in the second half of the season and get to that Super Bowl, because I'm be right there rooting for them.
I love that.
All the way.
I love that. Ed Dickson, I have always cherished every conversation we've had, man. You've truly been one of my favorite people to cover in this city, and have appreciated the friendship even more than that. Bless you. Bless your entire family. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend, and look forward to talking with you again real soon, all right?
Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate it. I'll tell your wife I say hello.
I will.
Raven flock, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Love you guys. Keep going.
Thanks, buddy. Ed Dickson. Really, truly great dude. Great dude. I'll peel the curtain back. So when you are young and you end up on a beat, there's a lot of days where you're in a locker room, because you're in the locker room 3 days a week for an hour. And there's not always something going on. You don't necessarily always have a specific assignment. Sometimes you're just kind of in there waiting to see if somebody might say something might happen. And in those moments, you develop rapport with certain guys. And on those teams, when I was a young man, I showed up. I didn't necessarily have rapport with a lot of guys. I had known Todd Heap a little bit from when I had first started working in Baltimore. It wasn't like I know Matt Stover, obviously. Like, it's not like I didn't know anybody, but you needed to kind of find guys that you could talk to, and weren't even necessarily sources as much as they were just guys that were willing to give you the tenor of what was going on. And specifically, and there were a lot of guys on those teams, and you've heard from, those guys throughout the course of this season, my guys. But Arthur Jones and Ed Dickson were probably the two most prominent ones for me personally, of guys that I would just wander over. Like, we'd be in the locker room. Mark Clayton was a big one. You know what? I got to say, Mark Clayton was a big one, too. Mark Clayton, it's a shame that he, wasn't on the Super Bowl team. But in the early portion of my time being on the beat, were just guys that I would wander over, and we would just chat for 15, 20 minutes. And we talk about life, and we talk about football, and you could take things from those guys. You would learn a lot, not necessarily on the record, but it would shape conversations that you would have, and it would give you insane amounts of knowledge for what was happening, understanding the game better. And those two guys you've heard from as we've celebrated the 10th anniversary of the Ravens winning Super Bowl 47, for me, were probably the two most significant just relationship guys that I had, just guys that I would go over and say, just want to chat, and we would just talk. I mean, we would just talk for, I'm telling you, up to like 30 minutes. And sometimes I would actually get in trouble because then I'd realize like Terrell Suggs was on the other side of the locker room talking to everybody, and I'd be the only idiot not over there sticking the microphone in Terrell Suggs' face. I'd be like, oh, crap, got to run over now and do that, or Haloti Nada or somebody like that. Because I just truly enjoyed those conversations so much, and they really helped improve my knowledge of the game. I think it would be, for a lot of people, it'd be easy to look at Ed Dickson and say he was a third-round pick, and, he had one, pretty productive season. I think a lot of people would look at him and say he was kind of a bust, right? Because you don't know. You don't understand that what Ed Dickson was doing was almost historic in the role that he was playing as a blocker. Like, he was taking on responsibilities that were overwhelmingly significant that just can't be measured by statistics. Not statistics that we use, in traditionally with fantasy football. Happy for Ed. Really happy for Ed that, he wanted to make an announcement. He wanted to be declarative about being a Raven for the rest of his life, and he was able to do that last week. That's a really cool thing. Okay, today's show is also brought to you by the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. GinsuGrills.com is the website. GinsuGrills.com. Use the code TAILGATE, and you'll save $100 on your order. Perfect ceramic home grill or tailgate for smoking, baking, searing, and grilling all kinds of food. Of course, the Ravens are on the road this week, but when they get back home, you can stop by the Game Day Firehouse every game day and sample some cooking from the Ginsu Kamado Grill. Register to win your own and $500 worth of grilling meats. KZ will join us next. We will make our picks for the week as we continue on a Thanksgiving edition of Glenn Clark Radio. The Baltimore County Police Department is hiring. Entry-level officers start at close to $59,000 a year with a $10,000 bonus. Some restrictions apply. Plus a great retirement plan, medical, dental, and vision insurance, advancement to specialized units, tuition reimbursement, 15 sick days earned per calendar year, and even further incentives for military members and veterans. If you have a passion for service and want a career for life, visit joinbaltimorecountypd.com or call 410-887-5542. You must be a United States citizen, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED equivalent. The Baltimore County Police Department is an equal opportunity employer.
Come experience Maryland's #1 sportsbook this NFL season at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the ultimate place for any sports enthusiast. Take advantage of our 24/7 kiosks, massive video screens, and watch all the action from the best seat in the house. With more money paid out than anyone around, make every moment more at the new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The weather outside is really unpleasant, so it's time to warm up with some comfort classics this winter at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Try the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo. It's 2 full pounds of meat, the mac and cheese bites, Mr. Richards meatloaf, the citrus salmon, the winter spinach salad, and for dessert, here's internet radio personality Griffin Bass to tell you about the bourbon butter cake.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a devil's backbone cranberry smash. Place your order now at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Looking for a simple holiday meal? Try Chick-fil-A catering. From Chick-fil-A nuggets to mac and cheese, enjoy a variety of tray options sized perfectly for your get-together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and bring smiles to your family gathering. Availability and order requirements vary. See restaurant for details.
Tune in to Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday at 11:40 a.m. And if you really have nothing better to do, keep listening to this show too.
All right, so sports betting is legal now. It's here. It's on. And if you want to place a bet and see how it works, we're asking you to consider signing up with PressBox's special promos and offers. You're going to get a great deal. There's a lot of free bets that are available to you, and you're going to help us out a little bit in the process, and we'll earn a small commission, and that's kind of a win-win. I know we don't talk about this all the time, but doing this is not easy. We're doing something far different. We don't have a huge radio signal here, right? We're doing something a little bit different. We can use a little bit more support in the process. So we're just asking you to consider going to PressBoxOnline.com/offers. I took advantage of the FanDuel offers. I actually got on DraftKings as well. And I mentioned earlier that FanDuel's doing a special for tonight for everybody in Maryland, where they're making it even money odds on there being one total three-pointer made in the Heat Wizards game, and you can make a max bet up to $50. So they're just giving you $50. They're actually giving you $150 because they just put another one live. One or more total points scored in the Cowboys-Giants game tomorrow. So if you believe that game is not going to be a 0-0 tie, anything other than that, you can make up to $100 betting on it. So this is free money that we're talking about right now. I'm not. If you say, "Look, dude, I don't want to be a bettor. It's just irresponsible for me." Hey, I understand those things. I'm not trying to force you into anything at all. But there is free money being offered by these companies right now. Put in your deposit, get your free money, check right back out, move on with your life. There's $150 of essential free bets that are to be made right now just with FanDuel alone. So I would encourage you to go do that. What I might not encourage you to do is bet with us because it has been a struggle this season. He is our friend Ken Zalis. He's back with us now here on GCR. What's going on, pal? How are you? Nope. KZ there? Let's make sure we got it, KZ. Who's been, speaking of struggle, it's been kind of falling apart. Ken, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Ish. Hang on a second. Let me see. Keep going. Oh, I think that was actually coming in, Griffin. I think that might have been just the button that you were pressing. Griffin is feverishly trying to work to make sure that
I have lots of clicking.
Yeah, we got you. Everything's good. Everything's good.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic.
What the hell happened to you? You used to be good at picking football games.
I was. So here's the thing, and Griffin will attest to this. I pick my games really quickly, and send them in very quickly. And I've had one of the reasons that I'm not as prominent around PressBox these days is my weekends are really full. So I'm like picking before I know who's hurt and all kinds of stuff. So,
But unlike anybody else, you get the opportunity to change your mind the next day, and you still get these things wrong. I'm not good, but I don't have to be good. I just have to be better than one. Yes.
And I feel good where I am. I'm still within striking distance. We actually have a long way to go here.
Yeah, I really need Griffin to get better at making picks, for God's sake, so that Andrew Stecca stops sending me his.
Well, can he
picks.
send them to me? Arnold, can he send them to me?
I guess he could do that. Yeah, if you're gonna be
because
on,
I'm down. I'm down there.
All right.
I'm down there. I mean, I do mine. As Griffin knows, I do mine like at 1 a.m. when he sends it out. So if Andrew sends it to me,
you're not gonna be impacted. I get it.
I'm not gonna be impacted.
All right.
So,
very good.
So you all could do that.
Griffin and Kyle are tied for Vice Worm, but they're comfortable. They're 9 games clear of Stecca. So the reason why Stecca doesn't send is because, with that being the competition, Griffin would have the option of simply making all of the same picks that Stecca does and then making sure that he doesn't get any closer to being the worm. So that's the reason for that. But yes, it would work that you could send them to you. All right, let's get into it for this week. Picks are brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can get the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. So where we are coming into this week, Paul Valley and myself are tied atop the table, killing it at 500 for the season, 51-51. We are just slaughtering. 3 games back, you find John Proctor and Ken Zalis. They are both 48-54. 4 games back, you find Kyle Ottenheimer and Griffin Bass, and Andrew Stecca. His mother thinks he's very special. That's what we've got for Stecca. 38-64. Unfathomable. He actually had a very strong week for him last week as he went 4-5. Very strong week for Andrew Stecca. 3 college games. Of course, the little bit of cash at the top of the table. Loser is trying to avoid being the one who's got to be the worm. Come in here and eat a worm burger. Perform the worm, Scotty 2 Hottie style. Get stink-faced Rikishi style. And dress up like the worm, Dennis Rodman. 3 college games, 6 NFL games. Griffin, where do we start?
We will start in College Park. Rutgers is coming to take on Maryland, where Shawne Merriman will be with his coach drive before the game. It's on Big Ten Network at noon. Maryland is laying 14 in their final regular season game.
God, I don't like that either. Damn it. 14, you say?
14, even.
Of course, Maryland's not really playing for anything at this point. Unlike last year's Rutgers game where they had to win in order to make sure they were bowl eligible. They're already bowl eligible. They don't have to worry about that. Now it's just about kind of showing any amount of progress this season. I don't really know how much that drives them. They did show obviously a lot of spirit a week ago. The question is, does that deflate them that they showed so much spirit and they didn't win anyway? I have no idea. Rutgers lost to Michigan State. Rutgers got pounded by even more by Penn State. This line is right. Maryland is about 14 points better. I don't know. Maryland, fine. I'll bite. Don't you do it, you son of a bitch.
There is no way in the world that Maryland doesn't win this game by 28 points.
Yeah.
There's no way. Rutgers stinks.
I'm aware.
I mean, they stink. And Maryland. Until last week,
there's going to be 16,000 people at the game on Saturday. There's absolutely a world in which they're they're comfortably winning and they just stop caring.
But this is for a better bowl game than the Bluebonnet Bowl. This should be.
I believe they're in line to go to the Detroit Bowl, and everybody knows there's nothing quite.
Very excited about Turf Nation flocking into Detroit.
Nothing quite as beautiful as spending your holiday season in Detroit.
But if they win, it could be a better bowl. I mean, there's things to play for. They can't. If you're Maryland and you're this coaching staff, you've got to put up a good performance against somebody else besides losing respectfully, I guess we call it, to Ohio State and Michigan this year. And I just think there's a lot to play for. And Rutgers stinks. I'm taking Maryland.
I'm picking Maryland, too. Let's see. I got everybody on. We have 2 on Rutgers, Paul and Kyle, both on Rutgers.
Ooh.
Andrew Stecca, I've got bad news for all of us. He is on Maryland.
Oh, geez.
Doing
Maryland. I don't like that.
Next up, number 15, Notre Dame Fighting Irish will go on to take the now number 6 ranked USC Trojans. 7:30, that one's on ABC. Trojans are laying 5.5 at home.
What's tricky about this is you saw them, they only won by 3 against UCLA. Their defense didn't look very good. This does to me come back to that USC has more to play for than Notre Dame does. USC, clearly, there's now the scenario where if LSU were to win the SEC championship game, that USC could be left out of the playoff altogether. Even if TCU were to lose, they might be left out of the playoff if LSU wins the SEC championship game. I think USC is going to play inspired. I also think that Caleb Williams has the opportunity to clinch the Heisman Trophy this weekend. I know that somebody would say, well, could C.J. Stroud could clinch the Heisman Trophy in the Ohio State-Michigan game? I'm going USC here. USC.
Yeah, for all those reasons. I look at USC, and they still haven't been stopped from UCLA, and everybody will go, well, that was a close game. It's like, yeah, but first of all, UCLA isn't terrible. UCLA was playing for their season as far as doing something more than just going to another bowl game. I like USC. I don't know that Notre Dame's offense can keep up with them. I think the defense can slow them down a little bit, but I still think that too much offense by USC, and it's what's it, 5.5?
Yeah, 5.5.
I'll take USC.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think they need this one, and I think they should be able to cover that 5.5, as does everyone else. We are
except for Andrew Stecca,
Lone Wolf
who's on Notre Dame, and for the record, Andrew Stecca, reminder, 6-3 as a Lone Wolf this season. So could be an opportunity there.
Final college game, the big one, number 3, Michigan going to Columbus to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. That one's at noon on Fox. Ohio State minus 7.5 at home.
7.5, really? Oh man, I know Michigan struggled last week against Illinois, but 7.5. It's testing me, but I'll still take Ohio. I genuinely believe they're that much better. I know Michigan's going to try to run the ball, play defense, keep it a lower scoring game, and that could allow it to be close, but I don't know. I just think Ohio State is that much more talented. Ohio State, although I wish it was less than a touchdown.
Yeah, I think Vegas is teasing us, and they want people to take Michigan because they know that this is a 21-point, big letdown, big game for the Harbaugh plan. As it's happened more times than not. So
they won last year, right? Like you remember they beat Ohio.
I said more times than not. This is the first time he's really done it, right?
That's true. Yes, I hear you.
Okay. So I'll take Ohio State. I think they're a better football team. Although didn't really like what their quarterback did last week. But
yeah, not overwhelming. Not overwhelming.
May have cost himself a Heisman.
I'm going against you guys. Maybe it's because of that Biff Poggi article I read last week. But I think I like Michigan a lot. I think they can keep it close, really close. So I like them getting 7.5. I like Michigan. John Proctor is on Michigan. Kyle is on Michigan.
Well, of course, Kyle's on Michigan. For God's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that one.
Michigan could be playing the undefeated the 1972 Dolphins, and they could be, they could be favored by 3 points, and Kyle would still pick them.
Then Paul is on Ohio State with you two.
Bad news for you guys. Andrew Stecca is on Michigan. So sorry.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Great news for KZ and I.
Yeah. To the NFL, first game on Thanksgiving at 12:30 on CBS. Buffalo Bills at the Detroit Lions. Lions are getting a flat 10 at home.
What do you do with that, man? The Lions are playing good football. The Bills were kind of sluggish last week. It's a short week. It's the shortest week that any team can play all season long. There is literally no way to have a shorter turnaround between football games in the NFL. I know they want you to bite, and I'm going to be the sucker for doing it, but I'm biting. Lions.
Yeah, I'm biting as well. The Lions have played good football recently. I mean, outside of a couple of games in the middle of the season, they've been able to put up points against everyone. And now the defense is turning around. I think their coach will have them ready to play, and I don't think they win the game, but 10's too much for me to just give it over to Buffalo, even though they're the better team. So I'll take Detroit as well.
I'm going against you guys. I think Bills Mafia still is in Detroit after that game, after Sunday's game. Also, the Lions, since 1990, they are 7-14 against the spread as underdogs on Thanksgiving. So
yes, but they've normally not been as competitive as a team as they are this season.
All right. Well, I mean,
like they're not normally coming in riding the longest win streak in the NFC.
Yeah, it means
that's
they're due.
not normally the way that it works.
Means they're due for a loss. And right now, I'm the only one on the Bills. Everybody else is on the Lions.
You are indeed
Wow.
on the
All right.
which is bad news for the rest of us.
Bills.
There's your guy.
Next game on Thanksgiving, 4:30 on Fox. Cowboys hosting the Giants, and the Cowboys are laying 9.5 against the Giants.
I don't know, man. I feel like everybody's going to take the Cowboys after what happened last week, right? Like, I feel like it's very easy now to just say, hey, the Cowboys, they proved it. They are as legit can be, so just take the Cowboys. I really hate this, man. I really, really hate this. God damn it. Giants, just because I think the number's too big.
Yeah, it's a big number, and some of the big number is because of what we saw against Minnesota, and that was, look, I wasn't surprised so much. You know, you couldn't have been as surprised that they actually won the game, but the way they won the game is just like, where did that come from? But the Giants have so many problems on the offensive line. I think they lost two more. I think they lost another starter and another backup who was a starter because the starter was already hurt. They're playing left-handed. Their wide receiver, who had a breakout game last week, Robinson, got hurt, so they really don't have a downfield threat. I'm going to take the Cowboys. It's a big number. I don't like it, but I just – the way the Cowboys are getting after the quarterback, it's too tough for me to bet against them with the Giants not having an offensive line.
I got more stats. Since 2005 on Thanksgiving, favorites are 33-16 against the spread. However, if you take away the Cowboys themselves, they're 5-8 as favorites. So all others are 28-8. Michael, I don't know. We don't know about Michael
I actually
Parsons.
have something even better. Dallas is 1-10 against the spread in its last 11 Thanksgiving games.
Oh my gosh, that is better. Even though it seems like the Giants are spiraling, we don't know about Micah Parsons. I'm not sure how much he'll play, if at all. I'm gonna go Giants. 9.5 is a lot. So.
Okay.
Me and Glenn on Giants. I have everybody else over here is on the Cowboys.
Including Andrew Stecca, so good news for us. Very good news there.
Next up are the Thursday night game, not on Prime. It's on NBC. Vikings hosting the Patriots. Vikings minus 2.5.
Vikings. I know. I get it. Vikings. I don't want to overthink this. The Patriots scored 3 offensive points against the Jets. The Vikings is the answer here.
Yeah, you and I are agreeing a whole lot. I mean, one team won on neither team's offense did anything last week. I'm going to take the better offense. I think both defenses can still play well, but Minnesota, I got to take them.
I'm taking the Patriots. We've got primetime Kirk, and it still seems like the Vikings should be even bigger favorites to me. So I'm just going to take the Patriots because they're the Patriots, and we got primetime Kirk. John Proctor also on the Patriots. Everybody else on the Vikings.
Yeah, and it's bad news for us because Stecca is also on the Vikings. So.
Yeah.
And it's a good point about primetime Kirk Cousins. I understand the world will be watching, and so.
Yep.
The world. It wasn't even prime time last Saturday. It was just the NFL game of the week, and he reverted right back to being Kirk Cousins. So
back to 3 more games on Sunday. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Cleveland Browns, 1:00 on Fox. Browns are getting 3 at home against Tom Brady and the Bucs.
Yeah, the Buccaneers coming off the bye. I know that the Browns' offense has been good this season. Despite their record, they actually are like the number 4, what's the stat? Like expected outcome, like they're the number 4 offense in football. However, just Tom Brady coming off a bye, having played their best game before the bye, Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm trying not to overthink this one either, and they've been playing better as of late. I'll take Tampa coming off the bye.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think they're figuring it out as well. Everybody else is in agreement. We got everybody on the Bucks over here.
Oh, it's a straight across the board.
Andrew Steck.
Yeah, it's a
All right.
social.
All
It's
right.
a social.
Bengals at the Tennessee Titans, 1 o'clock. Titans. I wrote that it was on NBC. It's definitely not on NBC. Titans.
Assume it's on CBS.
Yeah. Titans are getting 1.5 at home.
Yeah, this line is wrong, obviously, which makes you more nervous, right? Like it makes you more apprehensive because what do they know that we don't know? The Titans look great. They get their wide receivers back. Like Traylon Burks was outstanding. They get long rests coming off playing on a Thursday night game. I mean, like, what in the world am I missing here? The Titans, they've covered in their last 8 games. I know that this line is so wrong that I feel like I should have to take the Bengals, but I'm going to take the Titans anyway. I'm going to be the idiot and just say I maybe that's just wrong for being wrong's sake for this time. So the Titans is the pick.
Yeah, I'm going to be idiot number 2 then, because the one thing that the Titans are doing is playing good defense, and Cincinnati still can't protect the quarterback. They can't stop the run that well. The 2 things that the Titans are doing really, really well right now. So I don't think Chase is going to play this week quite yet. So they're still playing a little bit left-handed. And we don't know if Mixon's going to play either, even though Kareem played great last week.
Yeah.
I'll take the Titans.
Yeah, I'll be idiot number 3. Paul's going to be idiot number 4. Titans have covered 8 straight. I like Derrick Henry. No Jamar Chase.
Oh, I got an even better number for you guys. With at least 10 days off under Mike Vrabel, 9-0, both straight up and against the spread. Yeah.
Sorry, Kyle and Proctor, but they're going to be wrong.
Andrew Stecca is with us, however, on the Titans, so I don't know if we can overcome that. That is problematic.
Finally, Ravens going down to Jacksonville. Jags.
Who's that? Who wanted to say hello, Ken?
Well, I'm at the Friends School of Baltimore version of Turkey Bowl today.
Okay.
And right now we have the championship game where the seniors are taking on the juniors.
Oh my! Oh,
so that you heard the PA announcer.
You want to update us? What's the score currently?
We have the seniors with the ball late in the second half, up 24-6.
Oh, probably not going to be the juniors' day.
Sorry,
now,
juniors.
I had the good news for me, however, is I had the juniors covering 20.5 was the line for this one. So
I think you may be in trouble as the seniors are driving. The seniors are driving with under 6 minutes left.
No. Oh.
And they haven't taken the air out of the ball yet. So.
Damn it. Oh, and Andrew Stecca had the juniors.
Sorry, we just got a long pass down to the 5.
No! Very bad news for me. Very bad news for me. All right, last game.
Jags are getting 4 against the Ravens.
I was really afraid this number was going to be bigger. I was really afraid that this was going to be a bigger number, and if it had been, I was absolutely going to take the Jaguars. If this had been more than a touchdown, I was 1,000% taking the Jaguars on this one. But at 4 points, I'll take the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm stunned that it's. I guess everybody got scared last week when they only put up, but the Carolina's actually been playing decent football defensively, and that's it. I throw that game out. It's only 4. I'll take the Ravens here.
Yeah, I'll take the Ravens too. I feel like Jags might not even score at all, so the Ravens just need 2 field goals. And everyone on the Ravens over here.
Oh, Andrew Stecca for a second time this week is lone wolfing it.
Lone wolf it is.
Trying to steal a point with the Jaguars. Very good. All right, KZ. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, my friend. We will talk to you next Thursday. All right, buddy.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
Thank you, pal. That's Ken Zalis joining us here on GCR. Damn it, knew I shouldn't have played the juniors. What's wrong with me? Thought 20.5. It's 3 touchdowns we're talking about. I got a great chance there. God, I regret that wholeheartedly. All right, well, I'm going to start my week 0 for 1, but actually 0 for 2 because I had Germany this morning as well. But I did. I covered my ass. Very risky covering my ass. I swear to God, when they had that late free kick, I was like, I'm going to lose $500. Like, I'm going to go from just losing 100 on Germany to losing 500 both ways by playing. I'm like, oh, my God, what am I doing? This is the biggest problem is that, like, once you hit the button, there's no going back. There's no, like, I immediately regret the decision. I got to bail on it. Like, no, your bet's in. Thank God. What a disaster. Like, I got to get a hold of myself sometimes. That could have been a real mess this morning. Thankfully, I can smile through it because I did not lose $500. Would have been an awkward day. You think it was awkward when you didn't come in here with the thing that I wanted this morning? It would have gotten really awkward. Really uncomfortable quick. Hey, picks were also brought to you today by, how about UMBC basketball? You got to come check out the Retrievers at the Peak this season. Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena. UMBC playing some big local non-conference games. Coppin State coming in to visit next week. They will be there for a game on November 30th. And then Morgan State on December 10th. The women take on American December 18th. Experience the excitement of game day at the Peak. Get your tickets right now, umbcretrievers.com. Would You Rather Wednesday when we come back in. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Have you been to Guilford Hall Brewery? Located in Baltimore's Station North neighborhood, Guilford Hall Brewery breaks the craft brew mold with their great handcrafted microbrews and amazing Bavarian-style food selections. Join Guilford Hall 7 days a week for Orioles, Ravens, and all of your favorite college games. Make plans now to watch the big games, play trivia, or bring your dog for Yappy Hour. They even have free valet service on Friday and Saturday nights. Go to guilfordhall.com for a complete schedule of events, beer listings, and food and drink specials. We'll see you at Guilford Hall Brewery.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
What's up, everyone? This is Tyus Bowser, and I'm excited to tell you that I'm back for Season 2 of the Tyus Bowser Show in partnership with Pressbox and Great H Memorabilia. Join us on Tuesday nights throughout the season as I'll be heading all over town with my special guests. And, of course, our co-hosts, Glenn and Rita. Or is it Rita and Glenn? What is it? I look forward to meeting you guys and talking a little bit about football and a lot about life. And if you happen to miss the show, you can now catch a replay Friday nights on 105.7 The Fan. Get all of your details for the Tyus Bowser Show right now at PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser.
The next Tyus Bowser Show is Tuesday, November 29th at Mother's Peninsula Grill, 969 Ritchie Highway in Arnold. It's brought to you by Maryland Vascular Specialists and the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
The weather outside is really unpleasant, so it's time to warm up with some comfort classics this winter at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Try the Twisted Ribs and Wings combo. It's 2 full pounds of meat, the mac and cheese bites, Mr. Richards meatloaf, the citrus salmon, the winter spinach salad, and for dessert, here's internet radio personality Griffin Bass to tell you about the bourbon butter cake.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Pair it with a blood orange bourbon cider or a devil's backbone cranberry smash. Place your order now at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
Check out Jeremy Kahn's daily picks at PressBoxOnline.com as he tries to find you daily winners. And speaking of winners, here's a man who once won a media curling contest. And I don't think anything else. He's Glenn Clark.
If you haven't picked up the new print issue of PressBox yet, you need to do that right now. Kevin Willard is on the cover. He's, of course, the head basketball coach at the University of Maryland. great conversation he had with Stan the Fan Charles and I. It's Q&A is our cover story this month for Pressbox. Again, get to your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of those hundreds of locations around town where you find Pressbox. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com as well. All right, let's do Would You Rather Wednesday. It's brought to you by Glory Days Grill. You guys can win a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill just by participating, and they've got the comfort classics right now, including twisted ribs and wings combo, and the winter spinach salad, and the citrus salmon, and the mac and cheese bites, and oh my God, it's so good.
The butter cake.
The bourbon butter
Bourbon
cake.
butter cake.
Bourbon butter cake.
It's very good.
Yeah, I know. I've heard. I have heard. The internet radio's Griffin Bass describing it. Oh my God, it's so good. That is even better than I thought it was going to be when I imagined that in my head. Mr. Richards Meatloaf. You can pair it with the Blood Orange Bourbon Cider, the Devil's Backbone Cranberry Smash, all at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. Get your order in, glorydaysgrill.com. All right. Number one, Would You Rather. These are all Thanksgiving-themed this week. Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios, and we will, if you didn't get in yet, no problem. We will allow you to continue to get those in throughout the course of the day. We won't pick a winner. We will demand that Griffin works on Thanksgiving, and we will pick a winner tomorrow for Would You Rather Wednesday. Number one, Would You Rather. The NFL decides that much like Detroit and Dallas, they want Baltimore to be the permanent home of the Thanksgiving night game, or they promise the Ravens will never again play on Thanksgiving.
Wow. The permanent night game. Okay, so they're always at 8:20.
They would always be playing Thanksgiving night, third game of the day, much like the first game of the day is in Detroit, second game of the day is in Dallas. They played, of course, Thanksgiving a couple of times in Baltimore. The San Francisco game, the legendary Mike Tomlin game, of course.
I guess I'd take that. Why not?
Everybody is like, this is pretty much a consensus, which is weird to me. Like, I was sort of expecting that people would prefer not to play on Thanksgiving just because you got other things going on.
Right. But I mean, I feel like 8 o'clock by then, I'm ready to sit down and and I'll be able to give it my full attention. I like that.
I was surprised. Honestly, I was surprised by how overwhelming the responses were that people would prefer for Baltimore to be the home.
If it was noon, if they always had to play at noon, I think that might be a little different because, always my mom's like, I need help around the house. And it's like, well, the Ravens are playing. But, you can prepare for guests.
I don't know. I'm in a...
But 8 o'clock, I think, why not? It's a cool thing.
I'm in a weird place, like, where I think because I have to work, right, where there's a part of me that's sort of like, I don't know, maybe I'd rather just keep the routine. I like Sundays. Like, I don't make other plans on Sundays. I don't have anything else going on.
I almost like it when the Ravens aren't playing on Sunday, too.
Yeah, I know. It feels like you're stealing a little bit.
Yeah,
like it
and
feels,
I can watch Red Zone and just kind of...
I get that.
Really good program.
It's overwhelming. Everybody would prefer for the Ravens to be the permanent Thursday night game. All right, number two. Would you rather a football wizard offers you a guarantee that the Ravens won't lose again all the way through the AFC Championship game? Won't give you a guaranteed win in the Super Bowl, but they will give you a guarantee they'll be there. If everything you eat between now and the end of the year is covered in gravy. Or, nope, we're just going to have to take our chances.
Everything is covered in gravy?
Everything you consume covered in gravy.
Gosh.
So now, as a few people have pointed out, there's a few ways of looking at this, right? Like, you could...
I just eat mashed potatoes for every
a lot of people brought that up, where, like, you could just pick foods to eat the rest of the year that would be good with gravy. That is true. You would be able to do that, but, again, you'd have to go pretty far out of your way. Like, what if you're getting together for the holidays, you go to your company holiday party, and, like, they're serving pizza? You're going to have to pull out some gravy. You're going to literally have to keep gravy with you at all times, or else you're going to ruin this. And you're going to have to pour the gravy on the pizza. Like, there's going to be problems here. Or you're going to have to not eat in those circumstances, right? Like, maybe you and your friends do a lovely holiday dinner. My friends and I always get together at the same Italian restaurant every year for dinner around the holidays. You would have to skip out on that. You'd have to miss out on that holiday dinner that you look forward to every year. Or you'd have to cover your rigatoni in gravy. Like, these are the things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
I think I'm leaning. I think I want to take my chances.
Yep. There is no debate in my mind.
Ravens look pretty good. They don't need my help.
The awkward part about this is that there are a few people that it seems like,
They're
for example,
no-brainer.
our buddy Jesse Carr is like, dude, you can cover all my food in gravy regardless of the circumstances. What is wrong with you? I don't even really like gravy on potatoes, if I'm being totally honest. I almost feel like it takes away if your potatoes need gravy, you need better potatoes.
Right.
Now, I don't mind a little gravy on the meat, right? Like, 'cause, you know, not everybody seasons the turkey, frankly, let's call it the way it is. White people, we are not so great when it comes to how we handle our turkey. And I prefer like mixing a little bit of the cranberry sauce in with the turkey in order to get the moisture, in order to get the flavor mix that I'm looking for. I don't love gravy. I just don't. It doesn't do all that much for me. It is the least. Everybody talks about the cranberry sauce being the part they like the least about Thanksgiving. First of all, cranberry sauce is delicious. You're an idiot. Secondarily, the answer is obvious. It's the gravy. The gravy is the problem. The gravy does nothing. What are we doing with gravy? It stinks. No, I can't believe we're even debating this. The answer is no. And yet, for some reason,
more people want gravy.
John from Little Rock, gravy it all up for me. I pretty much put turkey gravy on everything now, LOL. What is wrong with you? Like, we're talking about eating breakfast in the morning. You're going to sit down and have a bowl of cereal, and you're going to... Like, you're going to say, well, I'll have biscuits and gravy. First of all, different kind of gravy. We're talking about turkey gravy. We're talking about Thanksgiving gravy. So you'd have to, like, I don't know, purposely eat... What would go well? Breakfast food. I guess you could put it on... I mean, definitely on home fries. You could put it on that. But, like, if you eat sausage and home fries every morning, I guess you could make that work with gravy. Like, I don't need any gravy on my eggs. That sounds awful. Like, dude, it's everything. Greg, it sends the gif of Snoop Dogg saying, all gravy, baby.
Okay. I mean.
Alex, it's just all gravy at this point. The gif of Matt Damon saying that. Like, we're getting a lot of gravy-related gifs. A lot of love for gravy. Weirdos. Lewis, thank you. I'll take my chances unless they're guaranteeing a Super Bowl win. No, only a trip to the Super Bowl. Only a trip to the Super Bowl. And in fairness, and this has come up a few times, Chris points out, doesn't it take away from some of the enjoyment of a run to the Super Bowl if you already know ahead of time that it's actually happening? We've talked about this a number of times over the years. I do think that, like, some of the emotions of, like, the fear of a game that's close and, like, could it all be coming to a crashing end is taken away. You're like, I already know. I already know. I've been eating gravy for a few months. And number 3, you can spend Thanksgiving dinner with your family, or for just this year, you can spend it with any athlete's family, but you need to tell me who that would be.
Man, spend it with anyone.
I'm really disappointed by how few people have been willing to bite on this one.
Okay.
Everybody's just like, I'll stay with my family.
Yeah, I mean, my family's great.
There's always next year for my family. I'm not for
Right.
one time I got the opportunity to do it. By the way, my answer is Ben McDonald. I just have a funny feeling that his family knows how to Thanksgiving. Like, knowing Ben, and I've always said that Cajun Thanksgiving is better than regular Thanksgiving. Let's go down to Louisiana. Let's spend Thanksgiving at Ben McDonald's house. I'm guessing they know how to Thanksgiving. And I'll see my family next year, and everything will be just fine. We can miss out one Thanksgiving. It doesn't make me an evil person.
What do you think of Russell Wilson's Thanksgiving?
Sucks. Awful. Wretched. The worst Thanksgiving. It ain't spicy at all. It's the plainest. Somehow, it's whiter than actual white people is what I'm guessing his Thanksgiving is like. God.
I feel like I'll play. I think, I don't know. I guess I would pick Adam Jones, I guess, just because I really like him.
Okay, and he is a man that loves to eat.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I could see maybe him coming correct on Thanksgiving. I
feel like that's not the most creative answer, but I don't know. He's been
Morgan
been
Moses.
my hero.
Jesse gave me Morgan Moses. That was a really good answer. Like, you're going the route of, like, who would I just want to hang out with?
Right, exactly.
I like the idea of trying to figure out who might have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is
like
the
not
bigger thing.
Russell Wilson.
Like, no, definitely not Russell Wilson. But Morgan Moses, I could see Morgan Moses' house there being a good Thanksgiving. I could see that being the case. My friend Bradley Bozeman, I'm going to guess that Thanksgiving is, I believe we've had this conversation before, they take care of business.
Probably not Marlon Humphrey.
He hates everything, doesn't he? and, weirdly find out that, like, they nail Thanksgiving, right? Like of all the days, they just nail it. The legend was that, like, the Thanksgiving was Patty, the legendary Patti LaBelle, of course, is famous for all of her wonderful pies, and Questlove from The Roots kept trying to get an invite to Patti LaBelle's Thanksgiving because they're both celebrities from Philadelphia, and he thought that, like, at some point maybe he would get the invite. And then, like, one year he got the invite, and he was like, dude, I had, like, 12 plates. Like, it's that insane how good it is. I don't know. It's interesting, like, the measure of you get the opportunity to spend a day hanging out with one of your favorite athletes and, like, somebody that you think would be cool versus me where I'm just like, I want to know about the spread. Like, that's the part. Like, I know Ben McDonald. We're good. I don't need to go hang out with Ben McDonald. I've talked to him a billion times. I just think the spread at his house is going to be legit. Like, I think it's going to be on the real. I bet the Honey Badger has a great Thanksgiving. I bet Tyrann Mathieu. Anybody really from that area. I bet even Patrick Queen's family does it right.
Yeah.
Like,
I still can't
oh, my God, Jacoby. Oh, damn it. Jacoby. Jacoby is the answer.
Down Alabama State.
Oh, my God. He's probably their season probably ended last week, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So he gets to go back home. Oh, I want to do Thanksgiving with Jacoby, bro. Plus, you get to sit around and shoot the S.
Yeah.
It's the best of both worlds. That's the real answer. Yeah. Sorry, Ben McDonald.
Yeah. I still can't get off of just someone I want to hang out with, so I guess maybe Adley would be another good answer for me.
Stop it. That's it. You got to be thinking about the spread, bro. You got to be thinking about who comes correct on Thanksgiving. Give me your responses at Glenn Clark Radio throughout the day. We will continue to share them. Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you by the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill. $100 you will save when you use the code TAILGATE at ginsugrills.com. It is the perfect ceramic home grill or tailgate for grilling, baking, smoking, and searing all kinds of food. ginsugrills.com.
All right, so Micah Parsons was tweeting with RG3 I think it was last night. They were talking about, why the MVP, your discussion, why MVP is a quarterback award, and he talked about, it's the media, that kind of thing. And he pointed out that only 8 quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl without a top 10 defense. So
really,
yeah, during his argument, he told Micah, you've been on my MVP list 4 times this year. Is what he told Micah Parsons over Twitter, and then he also listed out the 8 quarterbacks that won a Super Bowl without a top 10 defense. So who are those 8
quarterbacks who won a Super Bowl without a top 10 defense? Mm-hmm. Well, Joe Flacco is one of them.
Yeah, that is correct. Joe Flacco. He is the second most recent.
Mahomes.
No,
they were top 10 that year.
Yeah. Apparently, whatever. At least according to, I'm trusting. I think he got it from Paul Hembo, is who. RG3,
I get all of my info from Paul Hembo.
That's who he cited. So,
who is Paul Hembo, by the way?
I should have looked it up. I think he's some sort of. I can't. I lost.
Okay,
I lost
very
the tweet.
good, very good. Now we have that.
I can tell you in a second. As you're thinking.
This is the tricky part, right? Like, this really is the tricky part.
He's Get Up on ESPN. He's their content producer. Paul Hembo.
Who else would have won it without a top 10?
So there's one more in the past 10 years.
The Broncos definitely had a top 10 defense because their offense stunk. Past 10 years. One of the Patriots teams not a top 10 defense?
No, all the Patriots. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, but there's just so many of them that maybe you could have lucked into one. Past 10 years. I'm just guessing. The Rams, I'm assuming, were because of Aaron Donald. So, but there's only so many options. The Rams.
Yes, the Rams. Matt Stafford. Really? Matt Stafford last year was one of the 8.
I'm surprised that an Aaron Donald defense did not finish in the top 10.
So you have the 2 most recent ones.
Okay.
There are 4 more from this millennium.
Oh, wow.
2 more pre-2000.
Oh, Kurt Warner.
Not Kurt Warner.
They had a top 10 defense?
According to however Paul Hembo is getting measuring defense, yeah.
Got a lot of questions, man. I got a lot of questions. That is more than a bit surprising. How about Peyton Manning with the Colts?
Yes, Peyton Manning in 2006. Not a top 10 defense.
How about Eli Manning?
Yes, Eli Manning with the Giants.
Which time?
It was in 2000. Oh, actually, both times.
Both times.
Yeah,
both times.
He is on there both times, 2007 and 2011.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Not Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, that makes sense. They were good defenses back then. But I'm trying to figure out Drew Brees.
Yes,
Yeah,
Drew Brees.
Drew
That is
Brees.
the last one from the post 2000 era.
Yeah, that one should have been more obvious.
So you have two more.
Great offense, bad Joe Montana.
Not Joe Montana. Ever.
Great offense, not so great defense. Great offense, not so great defense. Great offense, not so great defense. My, oh, my, oh, my, oh, my, oh, my. I mean, I just say Dan Marino.
Not Dan Marino.
No, he never won a. That's not what I meant to say. Jesus Christ. I meant to say Bob Greasy. Sorry.
Not Bob Greasy. Not Bob Greasy.
I know Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. Please keep your pitchforks. Steve Young.
Not Steve Young.
Whew. Roger Staubach.
Not Roger Staubach.
Troy Aikman.
Not Troy Aikman.
We are guessing.
They were both.
No. Len Dawson.
Not Len Dawson.
Bart Starr.
Not Bart Starr.
Terry Bradshaw.
Mm-mm.
Ken Stabler.
There you go. Yes, with the Raiders in 1976.
John Elway.
Not John Elway.
Brett Favre.
Not
Jim
Favre.
Plunkett.
There you go. Jim Plunkett, 1983.
I feel like
Also,
the answer is always Jim Plunkett.
also with the Raiders.
How about that?
Yes.
How about that? All right, very good. Very good. Tubular is brought to you today by, it's brought to you by us, PressBoxOnline.com/offers. Again, we have just mixed things up a little bit now that we're past the pre-registration bonuses. There are still some great offers available. Mobile sports betting is on. If you want to place a bet, see how it works, sign up right now with PressBox's special promos and offers. You get a great deal, free bets, and you'll be helping PressBox earn a small commission, too. It's really a win-win. It's up to $700 still in offers available for you right now at PressBoxOnline.com/offers. All right, totally tubular for today, and then we'll try to touch on a little bit of what's coming up. Tonight, Morgan's the only local hoops team in action. They actually play this afternoon at Loyola Marymount at 3 on the WCC network. Obviously, another day where there's college hoops throughout the day. The battle for Atlantis gets underway. The Maui Invitational wraps up. The Wooden Legacy gets underway out on the West Coast. The championship of the Maui Invitational is the big one. It's at 5 o'clock, Creighton and Arizona in that one. Everything else, you can go to glennclarkradio.com. NBA tonight on ESPN. Mavs Celtics at 7:30. Clippers Warriors at 10. World Cup, what's going on with Spain? What's going on there? You give me an update on that. Coming up a little bit later on Fox, 2 o'clock for Belgium and Canada. You get an update?
Oh yeah, 4-0.
4-0
for Spain.
That's not all that surprising, I guess. Again, playing on against Costa Rica. I don't even know what happened in Morocco, Croatia.
Nil draw.
That's about right.
Yeah.
That's about right. Apparently, those were John Proctor's two teams in the World Cup draw. He was like, I really got two teams that are playing against each other in the first game. I'm like, so you're rooting for a draw, which sounds pretty likely in this sport. So he got exactly what he needed. TNT tonight for Flyers Capitals at 7 o'clock. Senators Golden Knights at 10. The Wizards play the Heat at 7:30 on NBC Sports Washington. Need 1 point as long as they don't finish. No, sorry. You need a 1 3-pointer in that one. You need 1 point in Cowboys Giants tomorrow. 1 3-pointer tonight to be made. So you have to sweat that one out a little bit. Again, $50 free right now for FanDuel. If you just go make that bet, you can bet it up to $50, even money. Will there be 1 3-pointer in the Wizards Heat game tonight? I got a funny feeling there will. And we're getting $50 free. Could
you imagine?
Oh, my God. TBS tonight for AEW Dynamite at 8. Real quick, just sort of looking ahead because we will not be here the rest of the week. I'm not going to do the entire week's worth of Tubular. But just looking ahead a little bit, tomorrow, obviously, the 3 NFL games. Bills-Lions at 12:30 on CBS. Giants-Cowboys at 4:30 on Fox. Patriots-Vikings at 8:20 on NBC. Of course, Turkey Bowls tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on ABC2. Calvert Hall and Loyola. No local hoops teams in action tomorrow. Just some highlights for the weekend. Maryland plays Coppin State on Friday. That's at 4 o'clock on Big Ten Network Plus. I don't know. It'll all be up at GlennClarkRadio.com. You can find it all then. What do we got non-sports?
Andor season finale is out on Disney Plus. It'll be airing on ABC tonight as well. The Shack, the 4-part documentary series, is premiering on HBO at 9 right before Hard Knocks.
Kind of weak.
I guess we'll see. I don't know. 4-part series starts tonight at 9. Wednesday, the Wednesday Addams series, comedy series on Netflix.
John from Little Rock just realized he thought it just meant you had to put it on everything on Thanksgiving. The gravy. No. It's for the rest of the year, John. So he is bailing on his previous decision. Yeah. Also wants to do Thanksgiving with Boog Powell. I love that answer. That's a perfect answer. Someone cool to hang out with, and you know that damn it, that might be even better than Jacoby. God damn, that's a good answer.
But yeah, so the Addams Family Wednesday Addams series, directed by Tim Burton, or at least it's produced or something by Tim Burton. Fred Armisen plays Uncle Fester. It looks like it should actually be pretty good.
Okay, all right.
Pitch Perfect bumper in Berlin. Adam Devine is moving to Berlin, and they're doing a new series or something.
Cool.
Pitch Perfect.
Cool.
Good night.
I accidentally hung out with him in New Orleans once.
Really?
He was in Drago's, just standing at the bar. We were down there for my bachelor party, and we just
cool
struck
guy?
up. Yeah, he was neat. He was there filming a comedy special, I think. Cool guy. I really, I looked at my buddies. I'm like, that's Adam Devine, right? And they were like, who? Like, from Workaholics. And I had the entire Workaholics cast on at the Super Bowl one year. So I was like, from Workaholics, he's on Modern Family. They had no idea. They were like, okay. And I was like. So I went over. I struck up a conversation with him. He's a really nice guy. I say we hung out. We didn't go out on the town or anything like that. He was literally just in picking up some food before he had to go back, and so we chatted for 5-10 minutes. We sat at the bar for a little. We had to wait for our table, so we just hung out at the bar at Drago's and shot the S with Adam Devine. He paid for our drinks. He was a really nice guy. Really nice guy.
Very cool. That's on Peacock. Prime Video has a Goodnight Oppie documentary, the rover mission on Mars. That was supposed to be 90 days, and the rover ended up surviving for 15 years on Mars. It's narrated by Angela Bassett. Looks pretty good, actually. You got Thanksgiving Day parades tomorrow. National Dog Show on NBC. Seinfeld, Adam Devine, and Bruce Springsteen will be on Jimmy Fallon afterwards, after the football game.
Does Bruce Springsteen just live at the Fallon show now? What the hell is that?
So his interview with Howard Stern will be aired on HBO on Sunday. It happened weeks ago on Sirius.
Yeah.
But they're airing it on HBO this weekend. Love Lizzo. Lizzo's got a body positive documentary about herself. Looks pretty good.
I thought she already did something like that. I thought the Lizzo's Big Girls or whatever.
She's got another documentary coming out on HBO Max on tomorrow.
Okay, I like Lizzo. Don't get me wrong.
And
I'm
then
a fan.
Netflix is continuing their Hallmark Christmas movie thing. The Noel Diary, a new movie on Netflix tomorrow with heartthrob Justin Hartley. He goes to organize his mother's estate. But because she just passed away a week before Christmas, he runs into some girl and who knew her mother. I don't know.
I know how it ends.
It does. Yeah, you do know.
I know how it ends.
You do know.
We're good there. We are good. All right.
Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special is coming out on Friday on Disney Plus.
One year, I had to buy a car right around Thanksgiving. My car was totaled, and we had to go buy a car. And my wife and I were sat in the dealership and watched the entirety of a Hallmark Christmas movie. And it was about a girl that worked in radio, but got suspended and had to go do radio in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I don't know, man.
That's a great.
I watched the whole thing. I just sat there, captivated by the whole freaking thing. I'm like, these work. I get it. I understand. They work every single time. You know how it's gonna end. Oh, she's out, and there's this hardworking single father, and he's so handsome, and. Yeah, she's from the big city and he's from the small town. And I'm like, I know what they're doing, and yet I'm still watching it.
God. Yes, the premise of the Guardians holiday special is Drax and Mantis go to Earth to kidnap Kevin Bacon.
This is on Disney Plus?
Yes.
All right, I will watch.
Yeah, they kidnap Kevin Bacon to give Peter Quill a present.
Why not? I'm all in. All in. All right, very good. Thanks today to Shawne Merriman. Thanks also to Ed Dickson, as well as to Jeff Lageman. And we'll get that in picks up in the greatest hits section of the tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Give me a minute here. So we will not be doing a show for the rest of the week. I will be on tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and on Friday morning, same times, on 105.7 The Fan. I don't know why you would be awake at those times on a holiday, but if you are, come hang out with me because I'm not planning on doing a lot of work. It's going to be some of the lower end versions of radio that I've done over the years. But I would like it if you came. I think Reed is going to come hang out with me on Friday, so I will have that going for me, which I like. But please tune in, 105.7 The Fan, tomorrow and Friday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. I will be with you. And then, of course, Reed and I will do postgame on Sunday. I'll be with you at halftime for Project Game Day. I'm really going to start getting after it. Semi-tepid response on day one of our raffle. I'd say I'm disappointed by it. I just needed to pick up. That's all. I don't need it all to be filled. Like, I'd like to fill it in a week. That'd be awesome if we could fill it in a week. I don't need it to be filled in a week. I need it to be filled by, like, December 20th. So I'm not going to panic about it, but I am going to start calling more of you out by name. It's the way it goes. I know some of you got into our World Cup draw, which also goes to helping up missions, so I appreciate that. But I will at some point start calling some of you guys out by name. We need you to step up. We need you to be a part of this. We need you to get in for the raffle. And we got great prizes. We got a Calais Campbell autographed helmet, a Trey Mancini autographed print. We're going to have Tyus Bowser autographed something or other. We just don't know what it is exactly yet. Need you guys to get in. Thanks to those of you who have already. KZ got in. John Maroon got in, which is very sweet of him. Andrew Stecca got in. My man Conan got in. Hillary Fisher got in. Jake Luke from Baltimore Beatdown got in. Nick Kelly, one of our favorites. Mitch from up in Toronto, Mitch Wolfman got in. Need more of you. And I know that there's some that I'm waiting back. I think my buddy Mark Tanley got in. I need more of you. Need more of you to step up to the plate and get in for our raffle. I'm going to start tagging you on Facebook. I'm going to start calling you out, especially with us being off for the next few days. I would really like to come in. My goal, by the time we get back in here on Monday, is that we have at least half full. If we've got it at least half full by Monday, then I'm confident that we're going to fill it. But I need you guys to step up to the plate, $25 to help us help the Helping Up mission this holiday season, and you can win an amazing raffle prize in the process. So please do that for me. All right? I think we're good. I think we're cool now. Excellent. Everything gravy, everything capiche. Thank you.
You want everything gravy?
No. Thanks to everybody at Pressbox, all of our great sponsors and partners. Baltimore County Police Department, Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, the Costas Inn, the Baltimore area Chick-fil-A restaurants, Guilford Hall Brewery, Great 8's Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Maryland Vascular Specialist, the all-new Ginsu Kamado Grill, UMBC Athletics, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. If you're going out tonight, I beg of you, do not drink and drive. Please, please figure that out ahead of time. Make sure you don't even have the option to drink and drive for those of you that are going out and celebrating over the course of the weekend. Have a wonderful long holiday weekend. I'll see you tomorrow morning on The Fan. We'll see you back here on Monday. All right. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too.